tax imposed by requiring the purchase of a revenue stamp that must be affixed to a legal document. And then it says, such as a deed or note. In other words, that's an example, okay? Before the document can be recorded, okay? Now, let's go to stamp. An official mark or seal placed on a document, especially to indicate that a required tax such as duty, stamp duties, or excise tax has been paid. Now, let's do this. Right here. Every person engaged in the business. That's every person, not people. That includes the social security number. That includes an LLC. That includes a DBA. That includes a sole prop. That includes a trust. Engage in the business of dealing in. What are you doing? You're dealing in something because you pay for things with Federal Reserve notes, checks, whatever. Buying, discounting, installment paper. Oh, what is that? A mortgage, a car note? Installment paper, notes, bonds, contracts, or evidences of debt for which at the time or in connection with the execution of the instruments, a lien is reserved or taken upon personal property located in this state to secure the payment of the obligations. What obligations? Obligations of the government. Shall submit to the Secretary quarterly, no later than the 20th day of January, April, July, and October. Don't they tell you to pay your taxes quarterly? Of each year, upon forms prescribed by the Secretary, a full, accurate, and complete statement, that's your ledgering, verified by the officer, agent, or what I say earlier, agent, or person making the statement of the total face value of the obligations dealt in, bought, or discounted within the preceding 3 calendar months, and at the same time, now this is out of North Carolina, you ought to find your state, shall pay a tax of 277 thousandths of 1%. A $100,000 promissory note, the stamp duties would cost you $227 in North Carolina. Now, this is why I don't agree that you have to have a trust. One, a trust is already created under the Social Security Trust, okay?
Whose trust is it?
That's theirs. You're the agent for that trust.
That's why you're not
when
able
you
to
fill
use that
out,
trust.
Hold on. When you issue the GSA bonds as the agent of that trust, and you go to somewhere like Travelers and you get your court bond, which is the asset to back the bond, you can put that into court through the GSA system, and you're no longer an absconding debtor. And Travelers issues what? Payment bonds, performance bonds, bid bonds, and release of lien bonds.
As with any other insurance agency, absolutely. They do that.
Yeah.
It's not a question of if they do that. The thing is that what is being used as the note or the bond or anything else is the charging instrument itself. And what we are doing,
the charging instrument is the negotiable instrument, and we don't know the penal sum. But under the Admiralty Court system, both parties have to be bonded. If not, one of you is an absconding debtor.
Hold on. And this is, again, the reason why you do this as a trust, because a trust bonds itself. You don't need to show proof of a bond when you're dealing with a trust. Okay? It's almost a self-bonding vessel, if you will.
Well,
I'm not saying that it doesn't work.
Where does the live birth certificate come into play, guys?
Say again?
Where does the live birth certificate come into play? You can use that for the bond, right?
Well, on the GSA
because
bond,
number one, that's the surety. Number one is the surety, and number two, it's the actual negotiable instrument at the same time. So you are actually paying out the bond right in front of you. You
Yeah.
leave the penal sum empty. You, now, the Federal Acquisition Registry tells you what the maximum of any penal sum bond will be.
Correct.
Okay. But you don't need to put the numbers in. You give them the negotiable instrument and the surety. You leave that blank for them to fill out. They'll be more than happy to say, okay, charges dismissed, and release whoever it is. Because you basically gave them a blank check. That's how it works. That's why it works.
Well, the only reason, Wesley, I know about Travelers is there's a guy in my name in my group goes by Bitstream. You really should talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
He leaned up his ex-wife's divorce attorney through getting the bonds, the UCC one, and all of that. Now, he didn't know about the GSA bonds, but when I started inquiring with them and looking at what they did, I said, this is the one piece of the puzzle I was missing when I did the GSA. Because, see, what he did with his performance bond, right,
Mm-hmm.
is it cost him $150 for a $15,000 performance bond. He gave an assignment to the court over the bond. So now the court has to upkeep the bond.
Yeah, that's another strategy. It's a different lane.
Yeah,
It works,
yeah,
but you got to know how it works.
yeah. You got to know how it
not
works.
everybody knows how that goes. They
Correct.
hear it, yeah, it sounds great, it sounds good, but how does this work, right? So, yeah, the if you have a surety bond in place already, yes, you are satisfying the requirement of the court that both parties must be bonded. Yes, they're going to
Yes.
accept it. But
I would actually,
in order,
if I
I was
did the
just gonna
GSA
say,
bond process today, I would go get the surety bond myself.
but you don't need to have it, honestly. You don't, because you already know what the surety is. The surety is that certificate of live birth. That's why you bring that, right? And you deposit that with them. Rule 67-1.
And I agree
Right?
with JD. I agree with JD on this. You do a special deposit.
Yeah,
Did you do Sam's?
that's what it is. Huh?
Did you do the special deposit with Sam's or who?
No, with the court.
No,
With the court.
the court.
Okay.
The court is a bank.
Right.
I-
The court receives the deposit. See, this is again. I'm going back. I'm trying to share the reason why this has to be done in steps. There's a lot to this. This is not a simple, oh, just one call and I got everything. It's not going to work that way. There's a lot of steps to this and a lot of layers.
Now, Wesley, look at this. Y'all look at this. Found this in North Carolina. Okay. The clerk of Superior Court may, in his or her discretion, invest monies secured by virtue of the color of the office or the receiver in the following securities. The first one on the list, obligations of the United States or obligations fully guaranteed both as to principal and interest of the United States. When they're going after that all caps name, they're leaning the trust. They're leaning the estate. So what do? You give them their stuff back. You say, here's the bonds, here's this, give them an assignment, do special deposit, blah, blah, blah. Because the clerk is the one that manages the courthouse, that does all the investments. That's why anybody that's had a 401k, they've heard the term about the municipal bonds. How do you think those are created?
Pastor, you said one word that would basically take care of everything without having to do those bonds. I yield.
What's that word?
Yeah, what's that word?
Repeat what you just said.
No. You say what the word is.
Yeah, please, because I cannot repeat it word for word what I said.
Assigning it to them.
Yeah, give them an assignment. Yeah, an assignment. You're transferring the property. Yeah, that's also what happened about 6 or 7 months before the birth event. There was an assignment over two of the products of conception. Everybody runs around thinking that's their name, and it's not. What got recorded was the other two products.
I'm just saying, man, the bond isn't necessary. Once you do
Yeah.
that. But
Oh yeah, I agree. I agree with that. It is necessary.
Wait, are you saying the bond is or is not
Oh,
necessary?
I'm saying it's not. But
no, I'm
There's a
saying it
what they're
is.
talking about is two different processes.
Yeah, what I'm
We
saying
got to
is,
be clear.
yeah, in the court system, it is. Because if you go read the book, that's the common nomenclature, what we call it. But it's actually the courts of admiralty. It's the practice and jurisdiction of the courts of admiralty. In the admiralty court system, which is Article 1 and Article 2 courts, legislative and administrative courts, both parties are to bond the case. What's going on against the state is treating that trust. You are playing the part as an absconding debtor because you're not bonding the case.
Okay, so both parties must bond. I'm trying to get an understanding. I will say I respect you said it's two different processes. So, okay,
uh,
so you say both parties must bond the case. Okay. I thought they gave you everything you need to operate in commerce and whatever capacity you need to operate in commerce. So why wouldn't the BC be enough to bond the case? And they already got the bonds that they have on it.
You didn't ledger it, so that doesn't matter. Your bond doesn't matter because it's not ledgered. Your birth certificate is not ledgered. It's not. Yeah.
Go look at a mortgage company. Hold on. Go look like a mortgage company. They're going to foreclose on your house, or a third-party debt collector. Some of y'all have seen that video Yusuf El put out a while back, a guy in the blue shirt. That was Sovereign Citizen Fail video. One of the questions the judge asked the plaintiff, do you have your ledger? I said, oh, yes, we do. What does the other party not have? Their ledger. They come in and produce their accounting, their ledgering, and you can't dispute it because you don't have your accounting together.
Okay, so wait, hold up, Pastor. Now, right there on that point, we didn't ledger it. What is the accounting? What is the process of ledgering the BC?
Well, for one, you got to have an account to deposit it in.
Which is a Sam's account, right?
No, that's not a bank account. That's just contracting with the government.
Sam's account.
No, it's not. Sam's is not a bank account.
Sam's?
No.
No.
There's different ways to set up a private bank account. I'm going to the clerk, and when I appoint the clerk as fiduciary, I'll get access to the banking side to where I can deposit the certificate.
Clerk in the courthouse. Are you seeing the clerk in the courthouse?
I know that.
The clerk of probate.
Oh, of probate. Okay,
if the birth certificate estate was probated, and it was, I got to.
So she has to
probate, but we can't discuss our internal policy.
The fiduciary is the probate court.
Yes, they are the fiduciary. What I'm saying is, when I go through the process with them, now JD did a different process. He's going through the post office. There's different processes to get you an account for the deposits, but you got to follow the rules. You got to learn the rules. I can't give you, Wesley, JD, we cannot give you a template if you can't defend it.
Okay, so that point taken and well understood. So let me say this. in defense of the people here. You're right. I'm one of those women who don't need a template, and I think
Yeah, I know.
50% of the people here are that. So you have half and you have half. So
Yeah.
now, wait, you said something key. Now I'm calling for the King JD to step forward, because 80% of the people here have a postal trust account already set up.
Mhm.
So how is it that you make that deposit through your postal account then?
You would have to set up the back end banking. Have you guys done your Excel spreadsheet stuff yet?
No, we haven't gotten, that's advanced. We just got the accounts open and funded the account to maintain it operational. But we have not learned what to do with it as of this point.
Well,
Okay.
it's this simple. You got a regular bank account and you have a checkbook, right? A checkbook.
No, I don't.
Well,
Okay, go
well,
ahead. Hypothetically.
most people, they have a check register. That is a simple form of accounting. That's credits and debits, positives and negatives. It's the same thing. You create your own filing system, your own accounting. One of the things I use is a registered mail number. I take that registered mail number and I put a suffix or a prefix with it. For example, I will put the common nomenclature for the date. Today's November 11th, so I put 11/11/2023. No dashes, no nothing. That one registered mail number becomes my primary file number. I add the date on the end in the numerical derivative, and now I put that on all my documents. So I know what day I issued what contract, what security, what note, what anything.
And that's ledgering. So ledgering is just having a marker, receipts, getting receipts for the things that you enter into the bank. That's what I keep saying to you guys. It's about, the reason none of this stuff is going to work is because you're not banking properly. Like somebody was talking about the contents of their case, and I don't know why you guys keep doing that, because just like when you go into the bank and you give them that piece of paper, the bank don't care what's on that paper. They care that there's money on that paper. If we give them a promissory note or a bond or any style of whatever they call a loan, they're taking the face value of the note. It's a dollar. It's a note, right? It's money. They don't care what it says on there. That's all I know is it's a $50,000 note, and we're gonna sell it at a discount or at that rate, whatever, based on their credit rating. That's what we're gonna do. So in your court case, it's the same thing. It's not about, oh, I couldn't find all the evidence and oh, this and that. It doesn't matter. It's because you're not depositing your bonds properly with the clerk. When you send in something, no matter what it is, if you're doing an order or a directive to strike or whatever it is that you guys are doing, notice of interest or anything like that, you're not banking properly. You're not turning that purchase order in properly. That's why they don't take it. So ledger it, which means get a number. Remember I told you guys about the UCC? That's one way to do it, ledgering. There are a bunch of other ways, but it's just accounting. You're getting a number, and then you're getting a receipt from the clerk. If she doesn't want to give you one, then you create your own receipt for that
the tax
transaction.
code says you can create your own receipt.
Yeah,
if you lost a receipt, then create one.
That's the money, guys. The receipt is the money. That's what you need as proof of deposit, certificate of deposit, certificate, proof of indebtedness. You need that so that you can, and you're not giving them, you make them do a copy. You don't give them the original document. You give them a copy on special deposit, right? Because you don't want them to commingle your funds with the rest of the court's funds. That's why your stuff's not going through. That's because it's banking. They don't care what's going on in that courtroom. In fact, they just bonded your performance. They're betting, like I said, that's what bid bond is, right? Somebody is bidding on, wagering on who's going to win the court case, right? So if one is favored, and usually that's the plaintiff, right? You would think, then they're going to put heavier weight on the plaintiff, which is why they disregard everything you're saying, because you're not bonded and you're not ledgering properly. You're not depositing stuff into the account properly, and then they get a lawyer, and the lawyer does it for them.
Yeah. Now Bitstream is in my group. JD knows Bitstream. Them two get along real well.
Yeah.
Bitstream, how he leaned up his wife's attorney is his ex-wife could not afford the attorney fees. So that he was asked to help on the attorney fees. So he sent 5 $1,000 checks. The attorney only cashed one of them and lied about the other ones. He went and got his surety bond from Travelers for 3 times the value, $15,000. And he listed the checks, the surety bond, and the docket number on his financing statement. And the attorney went all to pieces and said, you can't list my property on your financing statement. Wait a minute, the docket number is the attorney's property? Yes, because if you understand Rule 1.15 under the Rules of Professional Standards or Code of Ethics of the Attorneys, in most states it's Rule 1.15, and that is dealing with funds or property of the client and how they're not to commingle the assets or securities with their own. You will see what they're doing. So she went all to pieces over this, and now,
Register them though, they didn't.
so now she is pushing criminal charges on him, and the state is saying, but there's nothing here. He did everything right. But she don't care because she is liable.
Yeah. Okay. So
He did
let
his ledgering.
okay, so let me ask you this. For someone who does not know how to do the proper ledgering and banking or have the understanding of this, where would you direct them to get studied up? Something where we can go and do our deep dive
There
and
is
study.
nowhere. You're learning it from us.
Yeah,
We just
you're
learned
learning
it.
it from us.
We learned it on the fly. I don't have a book to show you. I gave pastors some books that I read, but they don't have anything to do with ledgering. It's just like the basic banking stuff. But there's really nowhere to learn. Ledgering is very
Good
simple. We're
question,
telling
guys.
you how to
But
do it. You get a
Ledgering
numbering
is,
system. You
yeah.
get a numbering system of your own. You make up your own numbering system, and you jot it down. You do bookkeeping on it, and then you mark your papers with those ledgering with that number. That's what you do. And
Now,
then you get receipts.
now most of us don't use cash. We rarely use cash. But let's say at the end of every quarter, I read that code, right? What is a Federal Reserve note? It's a note. It's a promissory note. It's just a type of note.
That
Well,
you
on your
could ledger.
ledgering, yeah, that you can ledger. How would you ledger it? On your accounting system, you put the serial number on the left, the denominated value on the right.
And then you
When
can
and you
do.
and then you do
Go
a
ahead.
UCC3 at the end of the quarter, listing all the securities you dealt in throughout the year that is left on your balance sheet on your financing statement. And at the next quarter, you do an amended UCC3, removing what's no longer in your possession and what you have in your possession.
And anything that you've
You
issued, you're the
QuickBooks.
original issuer of all these securities. For a hypothetical situation, just to help a better understanding of it, when we talk about these stamps and stuff, if you were to, and I think, Pastor, we might have talked about this a long time ago, but if you were to put a revenue tax stamp on a dollar bill, right, that would, and then register that dollar bill and then pay for something, that's actual payment.
And
Right.
that's part of perfecting the process
Yes,
for your instruments is paying the revenue stamp.
exactly. If you were to actually ledger your money before you did something with it, that would be actual payment of a debt. And then you would only need $2 or $3 to pay down your $50,000, whatever it is, because lawful money, a lawful penny is worth way more than, any amount of Federal Reserve notes.
I mean, not only that, if you did a coupon and you did the proper endorsement and you did the revenue stamp on the coupon and returned it properly, you'd
What's
probably end up
returning it
settling the debt.
properly?
Well,
Returning
that's
it
Sending it to the
properly
right
to the
people.
issuer, or to the IRS
You're the
and
you're
for
the
the treasury.
issuer. You're the issuer.
or
You're
you
not
either
the
return
issue.
it, you either return it back to the company or you send it to the treasury. One of the two.
Yeah, and you are the issuer. These notes are drawn in your name. You're the
Yeah,
original issuer of all these notes.
yeah. Okay, yep, I got that part. So, okay, so I have created my own numbering system. I'm just using me as an example. Okay, with the registered mail label number, with a suffix for sure. One suffix for whatever category of mailing I'm doing, like
Yeah.
1-100 or 2-100, like that.
Yeah.
So, and then with an initial at the end, whether it's for me or my spouse, my mate.
Yeah.
So I know what I did, who I'm doing it for, and what it is, what category, if it's in health, if it's something
Yeah.
for taxes or whatever. I got a system. Okay, so now and I'm keeping track of things that way. So is that called what I'm doing, ledgering, or I gotta do
Ledgering,
the
Yes.
yes, that's
accounting?
ledgering. You have to write the
Okay.
number
Yes.
on the paper, though. That's ledgering. It's that simple. You have to write that number
Yes.
on the paper.
Yes, it's
Look
on
at what
every
these.
document I do. That has a number on it. He has his registered mail number, and I have a registered mail number for myself that
Well,
already ran through the post office that I use for all of my documents and his for his
Okay, are you
documents.
keeping a booking record of that?
I am.
Okay,
Yes.
so that's
well.
ledgering.
Now look, this is no different than what the companies do. Look at their coupons. They have all kinds of different numbers, and if you call on the account, they say, "Give us the reference number. Give us this number. Give us that number." Oh, we found your information.
That's
Same
ledgering.
thing. That's
Reference
ledgering.
and account number, yes.
Back in the day, what did our grandparents use? The green ledger books.
Mm-hmm.
You start writing everything down, or you go get QuickBooks and don't connect it to a bank account, but you just manually enter things in how you want it. Because why? The IRS, under the Paper Reduction and Privacy Act of 1995, says you're to do one of two things. You do a tax return or a statement. They give you a statement every month. Why ain't you learning to do your own statements?
All trustee duties.
Do what, Chief?
All trustee duties.
Well, I don't think it's just trustee duties, because in the proper endorsement class that I did, they show you it doesn't matter in what fiduciary capacity you're operating in, whether it's under the social, under an LLC, under a corporation, under a charitable trust, under anything, how to properly endorse things.
You mean the qualified endorsement?
Well, it's
That's a
actually a
portion of it,
disclaimer.
yeah.
It's actually a disclaimer of interest endorsement, and you give them their stuff back. That way you don't have the liability.
I mean,
That's
there's
an
Okay,
good
so
and
assignment.
bads to disclaimer
that's
of interest, but qualified banker's endorsement banker's acceptance is, yeah, that's a main component, literally a main component of it.
If you have an interest, I mean, there was a guy recently that did a disclaimer of interest, one page. He had a 5-year prison sentence and he was out on parole. He did the disclaimer of interest and submitted it into the court, and the court issued an order releasing him from everything and gave him 17 years credit. How do you get 17 years credit on a 5-year sentence?
I've done that form. I've done
hypothecation.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
He got the credit because he didn't have the interest. The interest is the taxable part. That's what makes you liable.
That's also the only part that you can collect income wise. That's all you should care about is the interest.
Okay, wait a minute. So we should care about the interest, or we should do a
No, we
disclaimer
should
to the
not care
interest?
about the interest.
The interest is what you in your court cases and stuff. You're doing a notice of interest. That's what you're doing, a notice of interest. And again, it's banking. That's nothing else. So a disclaimer of interest it's something outside of what we're talking about. It's not what he did worked for him because one, he was in jail or about to be. He was convicted.
He was out on parole. It was already
Yeah,
done.
exactly. So determination was there already. So his situation
Well,
is different.
think about it. Property is
not
rights and
interest in
interest.
case.
Look, property is rights and interest. Okay, banks, when they do their ledgering, banks have liabilities and assets. Well, guess what? Their liabilities are the things they have an interest in. If you don't want the liability, don't have them.
Interest is liability.
That's right.
That's why you don't want it.
Yeah.
I've done the disclaimer of interest for case. She's a federal court case over for the tort claim. So
The rights
Hey,
title.
hey, Chevy. With all due respect, Chevy, I think you have the biggest heart. Your heart is as large as the Mississippi. But it is something that woman is not telling you. Number one, number two, and I say that to say I'm going to tell you why I say that. I say that because I've heard, and I pray all the time for everybody here for all the situations that are entanglements that we're in. She's not telling you because months later you did a check on that same property. Her ex-husband's name come up in it. Then they say some damage to the fence, sticking her foot in the door. Somebody was there. So it was more than just looking at a property. It sounds like a lover's quarrel. And she tore that fence up to get in there because she was a woman scorned. I'm just saying what it
It's
sounds like
also
when all the pieces comes
live
together.
there.
So,
But
but
he's
you,
her husband's never
it's
lived there. I just happened to do a check on it on the last residents that lived there because I wanted to see who actually owned the property to claim the damage to the gate, and it comes up under. I was like, who is? Because she's got an injunction filed with her county that she lives in, and they couldn't register. They couldn't put her in jail under her name. She never had her married name registered. She never changed her name from McDaniel to Morris. So when I ran it, I was like, "Do you know that Nathaniel Morris?" She's like, "Yeah, why?" And I was like, "It's spelled weird." And she's like, "Yeah, that's my husband." And I was
but
like, "Well, he's
Chevy,
How'd you
registered
do
as
the
a
check?
resident on the account." So
but
it went back. It's
but
got to go back to when they were searching on Zillow, which they were doing. Zillow
but
was
None of that matters. It's
but
How
about
did you
Chevy,
do the check?
it does because they were stealing people's funds and stuff like a year ago. You guys,
what I'm
How
saying
did you
is
do the
it's
check, Chevy? How did you do the check?
I
You
just did
said
a
you
Google
checked.
search on and it came up. Oh my God, I get one of them websites.
now Chevy, here's the thing you're not getting. I want you, everybody that hasn't seen it, go watch it. Go look up Gordon Hall Appeal on YouTube. Okay? Gordon Hall issued a $22 trillion bill of exchange, but he made two mistakes. First mistake he made it for the national debt. Why did he make that? What was the mistake in that? You cannot free anyone. You can only free yourself. What else did he do? He used ABA routing numbers. So now he trespassed on the rights of Congress. Okay, because
public
Congress is
public
the only
numbers.
one that can, yeah, can. So they're the only ones that can regulate that. Chevy, you are a prime example of what he did. You are trying to help somebody else that you can't help. They have to help themselves.
It's crazy to go and get a power. I mean, and this is just hypothetically, like you're going to get a power of attorney when the attorney is not respected in court. They're there for themselves, and if they're representing you, then they're doing that as a broker, and they're getting paid from the entire deal. So the judge, the prosecutor, and your lawyer are all in there under one bond. That performance bond, they're all bidding on that. So when you go in there and try to act as that, not bonded and not a party to the case, I mean, you're really only hurting the case, and you're really just exposing yourself. There's no reason to be in there helping somebody because you don't have all the you don't have any firsthand knowledge of what's going on.
I was just I just got power of attorney just to try to help her put stuff on the case that there's no judge on the case, you guys. She has I don't know if it was somebody she was talking to from the federal side told her that there's not been any judge on the case for 2 months. I don't know if the judge was arrested or suspended or what, but the deputy sheriff here is suspended on suspension.
Well, Chevy, all of that knowledge is not going to help her nor you. You're driving yourself insane. What they are telling you, the best way you can help this woman is to tell her you're learning here to do the proper banking.
Right. That's all you can do. Just tell her how to do
And
proper banking for herself. You can't do it for
yeah,
her.
you can't.
So, guys, how does she do that? How does she get her like? They don't give her mail. I mean, would she order a live birth certificate and have it sent to the jail?
You know,
And then
one of the best things she could probably do, Chevy, is the one thing nobody ever wants to do. Sometimes when you are up against a wall and there's nothing else you can do, ask forgiveness. We've seen
she
it work
hasn't been
in
in front of a
court.
judge. I mean, how do you ask for forgiveness?
Send
She
it in
hasn't.
writing.
She was arrested August 1st of 2022. Got out
Send
on
it in
bond for
writing.
like 2 months, and then now she's not been in front of a judge at
Send
all.
Yeah,
it
but do you
in.
really need to be in front of a judge to get your remedy?
No.
No.
Send it in writing.
She's
Put
put.
it right
You
into
guys
the
gotta
court
see how much shit
case.
she's put in writing. She's done all that. It just goes on the account on the docket, and
Yeah,
who knows who
because
gets.
she's not depositing special deposits. She's not doing it up like you're
Look,
supposed to with your purchase order.
when I sat down with the clerk, okay, on the back of the BC, I had what's called a prayer of equity. Okay, because one, doesn't it say that God is faithful and just to forgive us our sins? What does it also say in the Lord's Prayer? Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. So I wrote my own prayer, put it on the back, then endorsed it on the back. When I flipped that birth certificate over in front of her, oh, she picked it up and looked at it. They can only see what's on paper. They can't see anything else.
They can only see what's endorsed properly. They're a bank. It's not even just about the paper. It's about her banking. You're depositing something into a bank, so you have to do it right.
I mean, Jesus laid out the Lord's Prayer. It said, in this manner. What does that mean? Hey, here's a template. Make it an outline, and then write your own prayer accordingly. He said, in this manner. For example,
I mean,
there was a guy that did that in New Jersey 6 years ago and had all his charges dismissed. He did the Lord's Prayer. It's word for word in a court case, and they dismissed everything.
Somebody could go in there and just ask the clerk for the payment bond, and then bill of exchange it back to him. You could also do that.
now we have to get the payment bond for both cases because they've got one. The one case has just got the charges with the sheriff and the
Is she in jail?
Yeah.
Okay, so just get the payment bond. They'll tell you what to do after that. Just ask for the
bond for
payment
both
bond.
of them, though, is what I'm saying. There's two. They've got two
They
cases.
will tell you.
One of them's got
They
three
will tell
charges,
you.
one's got two.
They will tell you. Just get the
Okay.
payment bond. If you need it for both, or if she doesn't get out after you ask for the first one and bill of exchange it back, then you'll need the second one. If you don't, then you don't.
Are you understanding what is being said, Chevy?
Yeah, just I'll make a 9-hour trip to go get the payment bond.
You've been helping this person remotely.
Then play it back. Play it back. Train the trainer. What was just said? What are the instructions?
Let my dog in the. Hold on a second.
A lot of times, I will throw this out there while she said, hold on. A lot of times people say, well, I sent them a letter. They didn't respond. Good. Do perfect your administrative process right. Hope they don't respond because that makes things easier on your part because silence and acquiescence. Now be ready to take them to court to enforce the contract.
Ledgering.
Yeah, but a lot of these people are missing these elements for proper contract. And that's why they can't enforce it. The structure is totally wrong.
And
They don't.
it's not a contract is either unilateral or bilateral. This is a trust. This is an agreement, right? There's three parties, but it's not somebody else signing on the other end. It's just you. So it's a trust.
Mhm. And
Yeah,
Aquitas,
but
you're not
even with the
wrong,
trust, you need
but
consideration, correct?
Yes.
No.
yeah. Now, Aquitas, you're not wrong, but the other problem is this: most people out there have the misconception, oh, I should just do this piece of paper. It should work. I should never have to go to court. Well, you only have the rights you're willing to fight for, and where does those fights happen? In court. You run
On
around saying
paper,
it didn't work.
paper is
Well,
court.
because you didn't enforce it.
Ledgering, receipts, those things. When you do that at the clerk's counter, when you do those things, you are banking. They will drop the case. It's not
So then,
about what's
for
on the
argument's
paper.
sake, you guys are stating that ledgering is your enforcement.
That's a
Ledgering
record.
is a record. It's a bank. The reason that they do that stuff with it, and it's like, oh, I sent my paper and it didn't work, is because just like at the bank when you generally deposit funds and then they just do whatever the hell they want with them, the expansion is supposed to go in your account, but it doesn't. It goes to them because you didn't ledger, you didn't claim your interest at the bank.
So then the
If you're
endorsement is the enforcement? I'm just trying to
qualified
get an
bankers
understanding of
accepting,
how you guys,
qualified bankers
and
accepting,
that's how you guys enforce it.
No, none of those
there's
are the
nothing to
enforcement.
enforce.
The enforcement,
There's nothing
if you
to
have,
enforce.
well, I know what he's asking, JB. He said, let me give you a simple example. There's a lot of people out there, they'll jump on somebody's class. I will teach you how to do debt discharge and fill out this template and send it in. And under the law,
I'm not
yeah,
trying to do
I
that,
know.
but go ahead.
I know, but it's a simple example everybody can understand. You send them an instrument that's some kind of negotiable instrument, right? And they keep it. Well, under the law, if they keep it and don't return it, it's accepted. What does the party not do? They don't follow up with the other two notices. And then if they still don't get a response, they don't take them to court to enforce it by filing a claim in the court against them for the claiming of the security. Okay, they kept it, but you never filed a case against them and said, "Oh, look, I issued a negotiable instrument, a note, a security, a something, and they're trying to say I owe this." Well, I gave them legal tender, and they kept it because under the law, the debt is supposed to be discharged. But people don't know how to enforce it because they're not reading the rules. So they have no
Yeah,
intention of taking them to court.
the main rule though, guys, like again, I get already have a debt, or when you already generally deposited something and you're trying to get it back, that's one thing. But you're talking about a court case where you're meeting the underwriting group, which you don't have access to at the other bank. At the court, you have direct access to the underwriting group to sell your debt security to. That's what they're doing. They're purchasing it. So you're ledgering, and they're not going to play that game. Nobody has to do private or the administrative process, because when you ledger it, that's your proof that you're keeping a record of it. Why would they go and accept it and steal the funds or the interest on it or whatever they're doing if it shows right there that it's public? That's accounts receivable, accounts payable. And when you do it
Yes.
generally, accounts payable is invisible to them. When you ledger it, right? When you record it, you keep your books up. They can't do that, so they wouldn't even play that game with you. They would just accept it for
No.
what it is, and then
You had
deposit it into the account.
your ledger to the clerk.
Huh?
You had
Your
to show
ledger.
because we sent in a 1099A and a 1099C to cancel the debt. I don't know if that was right or not, but
It
somebody
was
else
wrong.
did that. But if I
You're doing a lot of different
it
things
was
all
never
at once.
returned. So
That don't mean
if,
it was right.
if it was documented on a ledger, where do we have to record that ledger with the clerk of court?
Why would you record your private ledger with the court?
I don't
You're
know. I'm
writing
just
you're
asking.
writing
So
your
how do they know
paper,
that
writing
we
your
didn't just?
number on the side of the paper, like we talked about earlier. Ledgering is simply recording. The reference number and the account number on your bills is ledgering. That's how you know they're keeping a record. You're doing the same thing. You're writing your numbers on your paperwork. You're getting a receipt for your paperwork. You're doing your taxes on your paperwork. The same way they should be doing and are not doing. You won't have to do a private administrative process. When you're doing all your paperwork, the tax forms or whatever it is that you're doing at the bank, which is a court, You're putting them on notice that you understand it's banking. So it's a very different thing. Now we don't care the contents of it, right? The charges, none of that stuff matters. At this point, we're doing banking. You gave me a bond, issued me a bond. I'm the maker, right? I'm the
Right.
maker. You're the originator. The court is the originator, but I'm the maker, issuer of that bond. I'm the one that's putting it on the market. If I sign it right, then it shows that I'm the one that issued it onto the market. If I don't do it right, then I have to prove that I'm the one that issued it onto the market.
Now, you may have to in court produce your accounting, your ledger, as evidence. That is true. But let me give you another example of ledgering. Some of y'all has heard of the docket. Well, there's something called a docket sheet. The docket sheet just has the name of the instrument and the file number. That way the clerk can say, oh yeah, on this day this was filed. That's the court's ledger. They call it a court of record. You got to produce your record, your accounting, your ledgering. When did you issue what? When did you do this? Did you endorse it? I mean, all this stuff. You got to have a record to prove your instruments.
I have a file that I've been putting everything in. It's not a record, like it's not a sheet, but I can do that. Shows
If
what
you
day.
don't write it on the paper, then it's not the same. You need to you have receipts. The receipt is the money in all these situations. Negotiable instruments don't work to the Treasury because you don't have a receipt with them. You didn't send it with a receipt. When you get a purchase order, there's a receipt attached, right? Pink and yellow, those are receipts. The pink is money. That's why they don't accept these things. They're not doing banking right. That's what I'm saying. So if you were to go into court after that, you would be in there saying, on this date, I issued this bond onto the market via the clerk of courts, tendered special deposit. These are my tax forms that I need from you guys so that I may assess the tax on this account. And then that's a different conversation. Even if you're in there for something like whatever she's in there for, I wouldn't be helping if she actually did it, because that's the whole point. If there's an actual injured party or whatever the case is, that's one thing. But if she injured inanimate objects, that's another thing. I mean, it's still a slippery slope, but you shouldn't be overexerting yourself or overextending yourself for a situation you weren't part of. But it's banking.
What little bit I know, JD, is this. My mind, like I said, what little bit I know, I could be wrong, because this is based on what Chevy told me a few days back in my group. She got greedy. She did a 1099-A process for about $27 million. So what does the IRS do? Oh, they put that $27 million on her income. And then she goes to she finds this multi-million-dollar house that she thinks she wants on Zillow. So she doesn't go get a real estate broker. She goes down to the house herself. And then she goes to walk in. Well, there's a family in it.
First.
Yeah. So she trespassed on somebody else's property without the proper agent there to show her around. So she's broken all of these laws and did all these things wrong because somebody told her to do it.
Sounds like a damn criminal.
That's not even an adverse
mistake. What's the solution to that if someone does it wrong?
Okay, well, that wasn't even wrong. That's just obliterating a process, and that's why I don't follow processes. You can't do a 1099 claims form claiming interest in something that you don't have interest in. So her doing that on a home she never even had or signed for, or issued a bond for, is dumb, right? That's not a process of any kind. An adverse possession or doing an adverse possession on a home, that's not how you do it. That's absolutely not how you do that if you're going to do it like that. That's one.
She wasn't doing adverse possession, guys.
A 1099-A is
that's
an
exactly
adverse
what
possession.
that is. If she's trying to do it, you're trying to acquisition something. That's exactly what that is. Why would you do a 1099-A for something you don't have? That's adverse claim. That's an adverse possession. That's what they call squatting. That's what they call that.
From my understanding, it was to get money from the Treasury to buy a house, but that's
No,
the way
you
that
can't
Jared
get money from the
explained
Treasury
it,
to buy a house that way. That's not how that works.
The Jareds jumped on the Chris Hauser bandwagon, and me and other people have called Chris Hauser out on the crap he teaches.
Guys, a 1099-A should never have more than $5 million on it. Okay? ever. Unless you literally have something that's worth more than that you're trying to claim interest on, it should never have more than $5 million on it. You are a single family household, all of us. $5 million, and it's once a year if you were to do that at all.
And the 706 and 709, the tax exclusion between those two documents, which is your Class 5 gift and estate tax returns, is $4.5 million.
Right.
So you should never have more than $4.5 million unless you want to pay a tax.
Unless you have it already. If you have it and you're trying to get the abandoned credits, then yes. Then
yes,
that's a different thing. But not having the thing and $27 million, I mean, where's the proof in that? All the IRS has to do is look up her information, just a little bit of it. They could just type her name in and know that she don't have anything that's worth $27 million.
But if you're not trying to assume the position of trustee or taxpayer, you wouldn't be filing any 1099s or any tax forms anyway. Other than
the thing about the taxpayer, though, is the taxpayer is the estate, not you. It's not the living man.
W8BN is the only one that has nothing to do with a taxpayer or a trustee.
Henry Boland's 1912 plainly says the Sestake Trust is the taxpayer. You're not the Sestake Trust.
Exactly.
It has nothing to do with what I said, but okay.
I was asking you what you said. I didn't hear you.
We didn't hear you.
Yeah, I said, if you're okay with assuming the position of trustee taxpayer, then yes, you can do those things. But that's all I'm saying. Some people don't want to.
So how did what I said not go with what you were saying? The taxpayer is the account, not you. And there are benefits to that. There are benefits to that. It's not about being a trustee taxpayer. The trustee taxpayer is the account. It's the birth certificate. It's not you.
Yeah, the entire process that you're speaking of.
There's no process. There's no process.
Everything that you spoke of is trustee duties. That's all I'm saying.
I'll show you what the paperwork is.
You mentioned the W8BEN. What did that have to do with it?
You're the beneficial owner.
What I'm saying is that's the only form. That's the only tax form that has nothing to do with the taxpayer specifically.
That's all
I'm saying. Or trustee.
That's actually not true.
But it's the only thing it has to do with is an individual, and that's a trust. I still wouldn't really mess with it. I'm just saying that's the only one that's not trustee per se, but it's still an individual. It's a trust.
The WAINY is a pass through, and then as far as the other ones that aren't trustee tax documents, there's literally thousands of them. You guys should really look into the IRS. I keep saying this to you, the ones that can expatriate, right? IRS, Attorney General, Secretary of State. The IRS is your friend, not your enemy. It's not about trustee relationship. That's not what it is. If you understand these documents, then you understand that the taxpayer is the estate, not you.
Well, I do understand them. That's why I don't touch them.
I mean, so what function do you think? What function is how do you access whatever it is that you think you couldn't do through the IRS? Because the IRS is there for you to do your own forms. You don't use their forms. You do your own forms.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
Yeah, you do.
No, you do not.
That's what
you said. You said. Hold on. You said no, you don't. I didn't hear you.
No, you guys might. That's fine. I did. I've been there and done that, but I've learned better. I know that that's not my duty. You can't have learned
better than the IRS.
That's not my duty.
I've learned in banking,
it's fine. You just accepted a duty. That's okay. That's fine. That's all I'm saying.
What duty is that?
Everything that you do, any tax form that you file, any banking process that you do, that is a duty. That's a trustee duty. But hey, if you don't agree, that's fine.
I mean, I'm not saying I don't agree. I want
the Chris Hauser videos. See, I'll admit it. But
we're in here to teach the people that don't understand what we're saying. So I want you to explain what you're saying.
I literally just did. I mean,
no, that's not an explanation. That's an
everything that you talked about.
That you don't want to do something.
I spoke on it earlier, and I'm pretty sure some people called it. I said it, but then the pastor, he came back and said what he had to say, and I just, I'm not gonna argue, man. I said,
that's me though. I'm not arguing with you. I'm having a conversation.
So I see it as him kind of saying JD, I
Okay,
seen
hold
the
on.
same.
Y'all close your mics. Let them have their discussion.
Yeah, because I'm asking the question. You know me, I'm not arguing with you. I'm asking you a question because that's inclination. That's not explanation, right? What you want to do or your approach is one thing, but what's the enforcement? What's the enactment that says that that approach is the trustee approach? And what's the opposite for you?
What do you, no, when you say what's the opposite for me, what do you saying? What is my position?
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess, yeah.
Well, man, it's none of those. I can say that much. It's in Burton's, man. It literally is in Burton's and Black's sixth. I mean, it literally is. I would just look at every word that you're using, and when you look at them, every one of them, including beneficiary, they're all trustees, man. I mean, so why would you want to be those? No.
Well, that is kind of what I say is you're not the trustee of the Social Security trust that was set up.
Or the
Hold on.
beneficiary. I'm not the beneficiary either. Not the beneficiary either.
I don't allude to books when I talk to people. I don't want you to allude to books when you're talking to me. I want you to speak from what you're doing. I don't want you to speak telling people to go to a book.
You want to tell me exactly what I'm doing? I already said it earlier, and that's what I keep saying. So when I said it, did anybody catch what I said when I said, "Hey,
I'm
Pastor"?
talking to you though.
Listen.
When
I said earlier, did anyone in this group hear what I said when I said, "Hey, Pastor, that's the only thing you got to do. You ain't got to do those bonds and nothing else." But then the pastor,
you're talking about
a sign.
Okay, and that's it. That's all I'm saying. No, it's not.
That's a trustee.
That's not
You
explaining
appoint
anything.
somebody or assign it. Equitable assignment is done from a trustee position.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. That's the offensive position of a trustee is to assign.
Oh no, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
What position?
So what book did you get that out of, and what attorney general or judge wrote it? Please tell me that. Where is it in black and white where they wrote that in one of their books after the bankruptcy? Did they say said that?
So
that's definitely
we're not in
true.
a bankruptcy. We're in a receivership, right? Spendthrift.
Exactly the same thing.
Right. Right.
So where did an attorney general? Because I mean, I'm getting mine from an ex-attorney, attorney general that I think is still living, and former, esquires or whatever the case may be.
You said former esquires, so titles of nobility given by a foreign state.
Judges. So where are you finding in their books where an assignor is a trustee?
I don't use their books. That's what I told you.
Okay,
and that's
fine. You don't have to. When you don't, that's why you get what you get.
Explain, because you're
gonna be chasing your tail for the rest of your life. But I just told you, and that's it. You're
not letting me explain.
Now,
so the attorney general, the Secretary of State, and the IRS, expatriate. My attorney general in my state, I can talk to directly. I can go to his office and talk to him. So I don't have to deal with the stuff that you're talking about. Whatever the trustee position is, the position you want to play in this.
You do have to do it because everything that you say everything that you said today was a trustee duty. So you can't say that you don't have to do it while you're teaching people that's what you're doing.
That's not what I said.
That doesn't even make sense.
I disagree. It's not all a trustee duty because one, when you said you use their forms, my father doesn't use their forms except for the bare minimum. He actually doesn't put any numbers on their forms at all other than a 0. And he writes his own statement because in the 1995 Paper Reduction in Privacy Act, it says you're to do one of two things, a tax return or a statement. And a statement is proper accounting.
How are you functioning?
Once again, how is that my duty? When was that?
So what are you doing? That's what I'm telling you, because I'm trying to have a conversation with you. I feel like you're getting defensive. I'm not barking. I'm asking you questions. So how do you enact what it is you're saying?
He left.
Right. That's what I thought.
Left.
That's what I'm telling you guys. So when you're doing this stuff, the whole point is he can't explain it. I explained to you guys in great depth what's going on and how you have to be a certain way. There's no way
really,
in hell. Every
you
action
got to know how to change hats.
And right. JD, really what it boils down to is, and this is what a lot of people miss, is when you understand the underlying principles of operation, you don't need their statutes and codes and books.
At all.
I mean, do you need a code to tell you the underlying principle of operating in good faith and fair dealing?
Well, look,
No.
the example is this, right? So when you guys go into a store and you buy something, right? So let's say you bought something for $15, right? So I buy for 15. I go up to the cash register, and this is just hypothetical because we're not supposed to be using money, but I buy it. It's $15. I pay $30 for it, right? I go up to the cashier, I pay the $30, and she doesn't hand me my money back. Are you going to say code 15 US code this and that says you should owe me some money? Or are you going to say, hey, what the hell? Where's my $15 at? Right? That's it. That's it. It's that simple. It's about the morality. Substantiated claim is what you're talking about. When you do something, I don't need a book because that's what I'm asking you to do is what's supposed to happen. You're supposed to do it that way. So when I go to the Attorney General or the Secretary of State, or I do my own forms and I do an attachment of their form to that at the IRS, is because they have stuff put in place so that I can act properly on my own accord from my own self for the estate that was created that I'm the beneficial owner of. Okay, everybody keeps trying to say you can. Well, why would you even me? Only reason that me and Pastor butt heads on the whole whose stuff is it stuff is because I just don't care to say, well, it's not my thing. That's fine, but it was created off of your commercial energy. That wouldn't be there if you weren't here. So the whole point is you're the one that has the duty to perform on that bond. You're the bond holder. So when it comes down to it, you're the one that has to do what they're trying to do in your stead, right? You have to remove them from the trustee position and put it over here where you're doing the action. Now you go to the IRS and you get what you need to get a home. You go to the Attorney General and get what you need to file something into the court record. You go to the Secretary of State and register your own documents, your own ID. You don't have to make an ID from out here. You literally create your own ID card and send it to the Secretary of State like they do. Their seals, you need your seal. You create your documents. You create your own stuff. It is
Yeah.
You are a trustee. You're acting on behalf of your own estate. Yes, but you're
Look,
playing other hats as well.
I can attest to that too, because you see people they do the thumbprint as their seal, right? I don't do the thumbprint no more. What did I do? I went and got an embosser created that
Yeah.
has the family seal on it. That is my private seal. Don't the government put their seal on it? Yeah, they do. They have an embosser. Figure out your family seal and get it embossed. If you need a company that will do it, get in touch with me. I can get you in touch with a company in Minnesota that will gladly do it. It cost me a whole whopping $142, and they had it to me within 2 weeks.
Pretty good.
It's really that simple, guys. It's about you. So people
The
come out here telling,
king puts a seal on all his documents.
right?
Does
People
the
come out here
king put a
talking about,
fingerprint? No.
no, that's for a different situation too. But when you
Yeah,
guys
it is.
have people coming here talking about, again, I've had these conversations with Bobby. I had these conversations with Chief at times. I have conversations with a lot of people that play that. Oh well, everything because I operate under God's law. I told you guys that everything that I do is no, I'm not. I literally can't conform to any process or because it's impossible. That's somebody else trying to be the trustee. Tell me what to do. I had a father and a mother that did that. I don't need anybody in the outside world doing that. It's my stuff. I'm gonna do what I want with it. So when they're like, "Oh, you're gonna take on the role of trustee in court," yeah, yes. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna appoint the court fiduciary over this situation to handle it for me. Right? That's what I did with my power as a trustee of my trust. I'm gonna appoint the court now for this situation to handle this matter. And if you can't, guess what? It comes back to me as sole trustee and sole beneficiary. Trust merger is over with. But in the real world, it's about going to the people, sending mail, written mail, to the people that can expatriate. IRS, Secretary of State, Attorney General. Attorney General is for your court stuff. Secretary of State it's really for your court stuff, but it's to register things, right? Apostille things that you had notarized on your documents with your crest, with your embossed stuff on them. And then the IRS, there's forms in there for acquiring stuff. That's what that's for. The IRS is there for the quote unquote perks. Oh God, and I was talking about this yesterday. They call it perks because you're only getting a little bit of it. So if they offer child support, if they offer $500,000 a year in child support, they're giving the mother $300 a month, and they're cutting the father out of it, right? That's a perk of. That's not the entirety of what's there. The IRS has the forms to get all that stuff handled, just like the IRS has the forms to get your court case handled. And they expatriate. You don't have to do. He's talking about, oh, do you want to take the role of trustee? Guys, who's gonna run your life if you don't? God is within, right? That's why I don't let people say, if it wasn't for God, I wouldn't be able to do this stuff. No, you did it. God is within. You did it. You had to go and make a move, or it would have never happened.
That's the truth.
Didn't God promise to provide your necessaries? Guess what? In the Federal Emergency Relief Act, May 12th, 1933, it says about the necessities of life. But the problem is the bulk of the people out there are covetous. They're greedy. Do I need a house? Yeah. Do I need a multi-million-dollar house? No. Do I need a car? Yeah. Do I need a Lamborghini?
Maybe.
And look, 62. Maybe.
Yes, I
You're
need a
right.
Lamborghini. I need a Lamborghini.
Well, you don't need one. You want one. Big difference. Now, look.
No, I need one.
Chevette.
Now, if you look right here, 6209. How many different forms are there? There's hundreds of them.
JD, it's true what you say. Can you hear me?
Under the OMB, there's actually a process to create your own forms and get the OMB to accept them.
And you can use their seal after that too. Those are also IRS forms that you could find. You can use their seal, the IRS seal, the Treasury seal. You can use them.
Let me ask you, Kings, a question then. Okay, you gave us a lot of options there. What about, okay, all these EIN numbers that people are getting? Didn't they? This is a question, and this is my thought process. They gave us the number, the Social Security Trust, and it's how you write that number. Doesn't it suffice for all the numbers we need?
It does. They created a trust for you. You can operate completely under that if you just follow the rules. Now, if it's what I tell my members, the people that are doing my weekly membership stuff, I said, look, if you want to live a very quiet life, learn a few principles. Learn agency, contract, and property rights. Then from there, you can go live a very quiet life and do your own thing. But if you want to own a business and do things that way, okay, now you might need to know trust law. You might need to know some equity and banking, stuff like that. It depends on the path you are on. Because, like I said, in the endorsement class I did, they show you no matter how you're operating, how to endorse it, word for word exactly, no matter how you operate.
And how much does this class cost? Do you still offer it?
Yeah, $200.
Fantastic. I'll be talking with you. Now, let me ask you this. If you want to live a quiet, subdued life, would that life still afford me my annual trips to Vegas?
It costs $300.
Yeah, absolutely possible. Yeah. It's cheap to go to Vegas.
No. Y'all ain't get me. My annual trip to Vegas. When I go to gamble, I gamble. I gamble 10 to 20,000 when I go. Would that life still afford me that?
That sounds
it can,
gluttonous.
Yeah. It can. It can, because why? What am I going to do at the end of this year? I'm going to do my statements and my accounting for the entire year because the IRS wants that full accounting, right?
And get it
I'm
all
going to
back.
be doing an administrative process to the trustees and said, look, I settled the debts of your person. I need a reimbursement. Here's my accounting. See, I'm a truck driver. I am not home to send out the bills every month. I go home 2 or 3 months. I'm on the road 2 or 3 months, and then I go home. When I go home, I'm going to want to pat mom on the butt for a while, so I'm going to go home for about a week. I can't afford to do that every month. Oh, the bills have come in. I need to go home. Nope, I can't afford that. So what am I going to do? If the IRS says, hey, I need a statement and accounting, I'm going to do my statement and accounting and say, hey, that's your debt. I settled it. I need a reimbursement. And I absolutely guarantee this. I do 100% intend on going to the Federal Court of Claims when I'm done to get that reimbursement. It is their property. The trustees are known. It can't be you because the Northwest Ordinance forbids slavery. So that means you yourself cannot be owned.
Attorney
Okay,
General.
you
Attorney
just said
General might be a
something
way to
about
go
going
too.
to a federal court. You said a
Federal
federal
Court
court to
of
get my money back
Claims.
of
Court
claims.
is a bank.
Federal Court of Claims because it's a bank.
Oh, okay. So that's
And
through the
if the
IRS forms.
trustees are known and they're listed on the Social Security website, right? Shouldn't, as the agent for that trust, shouldn't I say, hey, trustees, this is your person. This was your obligation. I settled it. Here you go. I need a reimbursement. Wouldn't you do that if you work for a company and you say you had to go to the store and you buy something and you turned it in to the people that run the company and say, hey, reimbursement.
Attorney General.
And under the law of agency, yeah,
Attorney General for your state, or
Attorney General
federal.
for you're in your state. So yes, your state Attorney General is who you would go to for doing things like that. You don't have to go because the thing about the trustees is they're we talk about the secretary too. That's
Possible
what I
that
always love
JD's
about
right.
I do it.
It is
so
highly.
I know it. The
Oh,
trustees,
okay. So that's like a chain of
trustees
command. I don't have to go to the top. Yeah, they
the
got
trustees. The Attorney
they got
General
the
is the
general.
top. The Attorney General is the top, right? You guys, if you're in
Okay, for the
private,
state. Okay.
the Secretary of State, the Attorney General, they're the top. The trustees below them are your treasurer, comptroller, and people like that. The signatories of the trustee he's talking about, you'll be hard pressed to get them to do stuff like this. Hard pressed. It is their duty, but you'd be hard pressed to get them to do something like this, especially
That's the reason
if
why
you're
I
not
said
down
the Federal
to go
Court
and
of
argue.
Claims.
The federal court, bankruptcy court, the superior court in your state, you can get that's banking. You can go there and bank, right, with your taxes and let them know that you need back for everything that you gave because money is IOUs. You get certificates of deposit, aka receipts, and those are money. You can sell those with an investment banker, or you can give them back to the Attorney General or the Superior Court to get your money back. That's what that's
Okay,
for.
so you okay? I appreciate that because that sounds along the lines of Myron Rice and do it in your state. So now we don't have to do when she said that we don't have to do it at the end of the year with the IRS to turn those receipts in their processes or whatever.
I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't wait till the end of or like the quarter at least. I wouldn't do this all the time, but you could just, like I said, if you're going to do it if you're trying to get it like that, then just sell them. I mean, when you learn that stuff, just sell them with an investment bank on the open market.
Yeah, I know Myron Rice. The other week we recorded the call on Skype. Me and Myron Rice had a nice long conversation. I've known him for a while. Eon introduced me to him because me and Eon talked. And I said, Myron, let's talk about your process. And he was telling me about his process. And I said, let me ask you one question. I said, why would you send it to the beneficiary? He said, what do you mean? I said, here's the trustees. I showed him who the trustees were. He said, I never knew this. He said, that changes everything. I said, don't it?
Well, he'll be on the newbie soon. He's retired, but
yes, he
we're
is
bringing him out of retirement. We're bringing him out of retirement. So yeah, we got a woman here that knows him very, very well. My question, I had a question for Shep. I lost
and I'm
it.
not going to say that JD's wrong on that. It is. I've not seen. I know Myron Rice did it that way. I know that JD does it that way.
JD's doing it that way. Yep.
Yeah. So for me, it's like if you still know the underlying principles, you can effectively do it. You got to understand who owns what. That way you know who is the liable party. Well, you know you're not owned. That name is owned. I've got a treasury letter where they even say it's their property. The back of the social says it's their property. Vital Records says it's their property. Well, if it's your property, that means it's not me. That means I've been settling your debt all this time. You need to give me back what's mine because I've been doing my fiduciary duty. You need to reimburse me.
Yeah, I've done all of the above with my recently learned, and I'll say recently just because it's only been a year, but I've only been doing any of this stuff for a year. I only just found out about all this stuff a year ago. But I've tried every avenue. I spoke with some of the people that could give me access to the signatories. One, like I said, you're still talking to people, right? Doesn't matter what their position is. That's somebody with a heartbeat. They're just not in that capacity. So when you do stuff like this to the signatories of trustee, and you're speaking from a point of like, this is my, I'm the beneficial owner or authorizing agent for this all caps name type shit, they're going to be like, what the hell are you talking about? But if you go to the Attorney General or Secretary of State, the people who can expatriate, which those trustees cannot, then you're speaking to somebody who's like, okay, so this is a private, you're reaching out to me via mail and written letters, and you're asking me to do something for you. I will do that for you. Yes, let's get that handled.
Yes. That's what the clerk told me the other day.
Yeah. That's what's crazy.
She said,
too,
I got exactly
as
what you need is what she told me. When I told her what I was looking for, she said, I got what you need. And why do I say go to the clerk of probate? Jesus said what? If your foundation is built on sand, your house is going to fall. Where's the foundation start at? Probate.
And I would like to point out, to make my point, using Pastor just now, that is not one of the 5 signatories of the trustee that he went to. He did he went privately to somebody to handle it. Man to man, woman to man, whatever you want to call it. That was not one of the 5 signatories of the trustee. So that's my point.
Oh, my question, JD. I'm getting texts from people. Do you have some type of curriculum that people can partake in?
No, I keep getting to do it. I don't have anything.
I will tell y'all, JD, I like JD, and about 90-95% we agree on everything. He's an admin in my group, and if I'm not in my group, and he can do a live. The people that are admins in my group, I respect their information because why? They know what they're talking about. I don't just endorse people lightly. I don't. So if I endorse JD, I respect his information.
Yeah,
Gratitude, Pastor.
I just haven't
JD
done any curriculums or anything like that. Like I said, I do so much talking on these damn lives that, the information is there. If it's something where you need me to hold your hand, and that's just a phrase, right? Term of phrase here. I'm not saying it any derogatory way to anybody, but if you need me to hold your hand, then that's a different story. And I mean, we would have to talk about it. I don't need like a whole sob story from anybody, but if you do want my help, just reach out. I'm not saying there's 100% chance I'll respond, but if you have any questions or whatever, just reach out.
Yeah.
I'll hold your hand just cause. I'm kidding.
All right, Chevy. Okay, Chevy.
I love the stuff. The information is out there in my group. I don't make people pay for anything. I just point. If they don't want to pay, they don't have to. If they say, what do I need to learn? I say, go into my files section, grab this book, and start reading it. I will know within 90 days by the question you're asking if you're actually reading the information. If you're not going to do the work, I can't help you.
And
me and JD can point you in the direction.
Right.
We cannot come to court and hold your hand. You need to learn this stuff so you can stand. I want a bunch of equals. I don't want followers. I want people that'll stand beside me and get to the point where they are teaching others, because I can't reach everybody. Jesus couldn't save the whole world, and he died for everybody's sins. And I'm not Jesus, so I can't reach everybody. I can't reach people in your community. But my job is to shorten your time frame so you don't take 12 years like I did to get here.
Yeah, and I agree. I'm the one that it only took me a short time to get to everything because of my discernment. But I want people to have a more efficient, streamlined experience. And the way that you do that is you take out all that weird shit that people, That's why that's the only reason I was asking. And you guys know I'm not combative. I just asked the question literally, not even in the way that we got into them dumbass arguments last night. I'm literally asking questions because we're all people living in something, right? So it's not when people come on here talking about, oh, I'm not the trustee or the beneficiary, or why would you even go into the court when something ecclesiastical, right? Those things are cool, but the world is not that. The world is, hey, I want to go to the bank and get a loan. And then I'm like, you're not going to be getting a loan, you're issuing debt onto the market. And this is how you do that, right? Same process, but I'm going to show you your power in that and their lack of power in that. They're the fiduciary. They have a duty to perform. So in this situation, they can't do that duty unless you, as the trustee, do your duty in telling them to do it. I'm going to appoint you fiduciary to do this, right? So the thing about it is, it's really just me teaching that it's not witchcraft, right? It's not witchcraft. It's not like, oh, I heard the birth certificate is worth money, or I could get millions of dollars off the birth certificate, or let's draw these bonds onto the treasury. Like all that fluff that blocks from the real form of it, the real access of it. If you understand banking, then you understand why these things are possible. It has nothing to do with like this magical button you press and then the money falls out from the ceiling. It's not that. It's just banking, right? When you go into court, it's a bank. They're not worried about who did what to who. It's just, they're laughing at you because you're going to go in there and perform. It's a venue that you're performing at, and they're bidding on your performance, right? That's what the bid bond, performance bond, payment bond is. That's what I told you. You guys, they're betting who's going to win, and then they're watching you guys, and like in the Coliseum, fight it out. You're duking it out. It's the same thing. Yeah, did you see what she said about him? It's crazy. Look at this paperwork. Look what he's writing. He can't prove any of this. Now have him come
That's
in
why
court.
they call us. That's why they call people sovereign citizens. They're going in being, they don't know how the system works.
Right. And that's the thing I'm telling you. Like when you guys put all these papers in, they, the state nationals and all them, the paper terrorists, and it's like, it's banking. Why are you guys putting in 80 pages of paperwork? Or why are you guys putting in this paperwork from this template you saw when the template doesn't have what it's supposed to have on? Where's the banking? The judge took a banker's oath, guys. A banker's oath. Why do you think a judge has a banker's oath? Because it's banking. Right, I posted some stuff in Pastor's chat.
I'll be honest. Oh my gosh, I never knew about the banker's oath until last night.
Yeah.
And I think Jay. See, the way I look at it is, no one man knows all the law. We all know bits and pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And JD's got something to bring to the table. I got something to bring to the table. Popeye's got something. Bitstream's got something. These people I endorse all have something, because we're all on our own path. Why am I going to turn JD away and say, oh, you don't agree with me? No, he's got something to bring to the table, and he's smart.
Yeah, if that banker's oath is what's there. You guys want to get results with a judge instead of, oh, what's your oath? No, ask him about that banker's oath. All right, hold him to that banker's oath. Hey, I issued a bond earlier with the clerk. Can we handle that? Are you guys going to assess the tax, or should I do it? I already did my 1099B. I just need the 8300 form from you. If you got that, we can move forward. If you can get the prosecutor to give me the SSA 89 form, because I know you guys are using my social, then we can move forward. If not, honestly, it's just real tough right now. It's really tough to handle the situation, because what's the judge going to do? You might get a judge that's like, you know what? I'm giving your kid to the mother of your child, right? And I could get mad. I could be like, oh, they railroad me, or I could just go do banking. Right? I could just go do banking. I could go to the clerk and ask for the performance bond, and I could send notice to the Attorney General that the judge tried to tell me that I couldn't have my daughter 50-50 like I set up a contract for it to be. I wrote my own agreement with the mother of my child. I had it certified with the court. I don't go in the court to argue with her. Whatever she says in there, I'm like, whatever. The lawyer, I told him to sit down. We're not talking about that. He said what he said. I told the judge, strike that from the record, and we could have him sit down. I appreciate him being here for her. I love that he's trying to support her, but I think he has ulterior motives. So I'm going to ask that he produce the 1099 OID, because I know that's what he's really here for. But if he can't, let's just have him sit down. And the judge was like, yeah, let's go ahead and sit down. And then after that, like I told Pastor them, I just said I stand by my papers, and I let her speak for me. I asked the judge if it was a court of equity. She said, yes, it is. And I said, okay. And then she did it for me. She talked to the mother of my child for me. And then she set a trial for a year and a half or a year from now, which is trying to create that marketable security, which is fine. I'm just going to go in and get it so they can't. But it's that simple. It's banking, banker's oath. And I never have to play that card with the judge because I didn't give them anything. I didn't gift them anything, right? Everything I'm doing, I'm special depositing with the right things on it, which is why they keep getting rid of the judges and adding new ones, because I was doing it the wrong way. I was appointing the judge trustee instead of the court. So, and this was before I even realized wholeheartedly what I'm doing, because I'm actually doing the banking, the back-end banking, and I didn't even realize to apply it to court, right? I didn't even realize it. I've had this the Title 26 Bankers Act in my damn phone for the whole year. I downloaded it a long time ago, and I was just thinking about it the other day after my hearing. I was like, wait a minute. I have this whole banker's oath in here. I could be playing this card. And then, funny enough, Pastor brought up the, what was it? The code of procedure or code of whatever, where we were reading about
the rules of professional standard or the rules of
Yes.
professional conduct.
Yeah, and that's why I told him about the banker's oath and the Bankers Act, because he brought that up, and I was like, right, the lawyer is literally, it's escrow. They're holding an escrow, all the money, the accounting, the credits, the interest, holding an escrow.
Well,
That's what they are.
most people have not heard of, much less watched in full, Bankruptcy and Revised Article 9, Part 1 and Part 2 on YouTube. These are the Federal Judicial Center. They're telling you exactly what's going on. At the 8-minute mark, they're talking about taking property from the trustees, and it's a commercial tort.
Yeah.
Say those titles. Say those titles again, Pastor. They need to be put in the chat.
Bankruptcy and Revised Article 9, Part 1. There's 2 parts, but the Part 1 is the best part. This is the Federal Judicial Center. These are the people that teaches judges how the system works. The judges have to go to these classes. At the 43-minute mark, Ms. LaRouche is talking about the registered organization, and the guy 2 spots to her right pops off and says, yes, and some say the state issues a birth certificate. Well, that means what? What's the birth certificate? It's a registered organization. And somebody asked me earlier, do you know Ken W?
Did I lose y'all?
No, it's just Pastor. He's probably going under a bridge or something.
Oh, okay. Do anybody remember the full title of that video? Why we get him back? Because I was trying to get it in the chat. Bankruptcy.
Bankruptcy Article 9, I think.
I'll put it in the chat for you.
Oh, gratitude, King. Appreciate that.
All right.
Send it to me when you get it. So, Elisa.
It's in the chat, or he'll put it in the chat. I know he'll get right back to it when he does that, but child support cases are easy to beat for the same reason, because they actually put you in touch with, I know the person that I'm helping, they put him right in touch with the CPA, the Department of Revenue for the CPA for the Department of Revenue. That's literally the accounting team, right? So who better to speak your portion about the accounting than the person reaching out for child support? That's where they do all that at anyway, them and the accounts payable office. So, I mean, you have your people that you can send this stuff to, as long as you're doing it the right way. As a bank, which is what it is, the child support services, they're in the same courthouse as everything else. I mean, anything, any court case, court hearing, if you don't need to bring those bonds in, but I don't think it would hurt either, right? To have your own bond, to register that bond, to ledger that bond, attach it to the case, to ledger your bonds that you're putting into the case, to put them on special deposit. And then when you guys get a better working knowledge of the outside banks, the financial institutions, that's what I'm here for. I'm here when you get a better knowledge. I'm not here to teach you the better knowledge. I'm here to help you when you get the better knowledge. I don't like going from the base and then trying to pull somebody up to where I am, because one, it distracts me. I told you I've only been doing this a year, so I'm a baby at this. Right? I'm aging majority, don't get me wrong, but when it comes to this stuff, I'm in the infant stages. I have a lot more to learn, and I've learned a lot because I don't play into the guru game. I don't do the antiquated bullshit. I don't do the state national stuff. If it's not something that I can go apply or teach somebody how to do, if it's some weird, because the thing about it is, like, I want the Moors to be so powerful, but they just don't know banking. They don't know. I mean, some do. Don't get me wrong. There are people within it that understand it, but if they really, 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 truly knew what was going on with the banking stuff, I mean, they'd be right back where it was so long ago, because that's the part they're missing, right? That's the whole nation. The Moors are a nation, but they don't understand banking as a nation, right? And that's for everybody. State nationals, it's about barking, trying to uncloak the fraud. Like, what? No, banking policy is fraud. Why do we care? Just know your position in it so that they can't get you with the fraud, right? Who cares about the fraud? I'm not here to save everybody. I'm here to make sure that I'm banking properly so that when they come to me, they have to treat me a certain way, right? I get letters from the judge herself directly, postage stamps and all, the right way to do it, because she knows that I know, right? So no more letters from the lawyer, no more letters from the clerk of courts. All my letters come from the judge, right, from her. All right, asking me what time I'd like to show up. What date works for you? Would you like to come at this time? No, I don't want to come at that time. No, I don't want the lawyer there. Can we make it a different date? Calling the judge by her first name. Hey, Marie, can I switch it? I have to do something that day. I don't know if you can do that. Okay, well, how about this? I'll forfeit the performance bond, right? I'll come in, I'll grab the payment bond, I'll don it appropriately and give it to her. Okay, we'll just come in and get it. It's money, it's banking. I know you guys are bidding on this case.
Hey, may I?
Go ahead.
Good stuff, man. Appreciate your knowledge. But if you can hear me, how did you get to the point where a judge is writing you?
Say again?
How do you get to the point where the judge is writing you?
Equity, private process. So I have my contracts in place with the mother of my child, for one. But two, I'm not like, I don't file motions. I don't do the quote unquote sovereign citizen thing. In fact, when the lawyer called me a sovereign citizen in open court, I was over the phone, but in open court, he called me a sovereign citizen. I just told him straight up, I'm not an enemy of the state. I'm not a combatant. I'm not belligerent. I'm a friend of the court. All right. I'm just doing banking. That's all I'm doing. And there's no proof that I'm a sovereign citizen. I mean, if me understanding my position in this is what you guys call that, then that's weird. But I was just happy that because he told the judge, he said that I sent him a cease and desist and told him that the mother of my child is not capable of handling her own affairs and deemed incompetent in the ward of the state because she hired me. And I asked him, I said, did you just say that on the record? He was like, I did. And I was like, I appreciate that. So I told the judge, I was like, strike everything but that from the record. Because that's true. I did say that. So my paperwork beforehand court is the paperwork, right? It's a bank. So it's your bond that you're entering into the case. Now they read it because in family court, it is actually a court of equity. It's good that she agreed because it literally is a meeting of the minds. It's me and the mother of my child having a conversation. The problem is it's not a private conversation because the judge and the lawyer are there, right? And I don't need them there. It's no controversy. So that's what I'm telling this person. So that was the issue. That's why we're going to a trial so that I can play the cards that I play. I told her that they don't have a delegation of authority over private trust, and they haven't offered me a certificate of special deposit, as proof that she does. And the mother of my child was just arguing back and forth with air because I wasn't saying anything to her or the lawyer, not responding to them. I don't have a controversy. Why would I respond to that? They were making the most baseless claims they possibly could. So what happens? You go to a trial where she's going to have to substantiate all of those claims. So if I was dumb enough to still show up in court, I would just sit there and listen to her talk, because you got to prove everything you're saying beyond the shadow of a doubt, unequivocal evidence. So, I mean, if I was to play that role and go into court and perform, as long as I got paid after, that's fine. You know, I'm a performer. I'll come perform, performing arts. I'll do it. But you got to pay me just like you pay any other actor, right? So I get my private process because my letters go directly to the people that need them, which is regular, right? If you're going to a court, it's just regular to think, well, I should message the judge. Now the Attorney General and Secretary of State, I had to look that up. I had to like figure that out. But I've always just messaged the judge and the mother of my child, like, hey, are you really still trying to go to court? This is dumb. You keep petitioning the court because I don't want you to let my daughter go to school an hour away from both of us. And because I don't want her to get a COVID shot. That's why you're trying to go to court. That's dumb. You don't need your parents for that, right? Just have a conversation with me. So that's my private process. And then the judge talks for me. I don't have to play that game. I don't have to do the state national stuff. I don't have to go after anybody's bond. I don't have to do any of that. And again, I didn't realize the banking portion of it. And I mean, like, because I know so much about the banking portion of it, I didn't realize how much of that I could actually use in my hearings. So I've been doing the whole equity, getting rid of the judge thing, and which is fine. But every time she petitions the court, I'm going to have to go back. So I would rather do it the tax way, do banking, because now when they see my name on the docket sheet, they're going to be like, no, I'm not taking that. We're not taking that. He's going to have us audited and we'll be bankrupt. So no, don't bring him into court. Send a letter to the mom telling her that we couldn't handle it. And that's what I want. So I think efficiently, I move efficiently. I want to help people be more efficient, but you have to help yourself first, because that's the private process. When you come to me, it should be like, hey, you know, I'm doing this, this, and this, or, you know, I had the opportunity to talk with this person and I got these results. I just need some glue, something to fill in the cracks. And that's what I do. I fill in the cracks. I complete the puzzle piece for you, because everybody's always missing something. People are still putting their living man or woman on a UCC, which is crazy because you can't interact with the public as a living man or woman. So I don't know why you would put that on a UCC. Yeah, things like that, though. People are doing small things. They're not big deals, but they matter. And that's just what I'm here for, to create that separation.
You are much appreciated. Good job.
I appreciate you guys for asking the questions. It does help me learn too, right? Because again, it's only been a year, so I'm learning this stuff as well. So when I teach it to you, I'm regurgitating my information that I'm reading from, and it helps.
I like the way you say you only been studying a year. I like that. I'm gonna use it.
Yeah. Because I didn't know any of this stuff before this. I lived my life like this before this, but I didn't know any of this stuff. So it's been.
Well, you was already doing exchanging, you know, most of your life.
Yeah, exactly. I quite literally too. I was literally doing barter and exchange, trade as a consumer, not commercial tax liability as a consignee. So
it's funny how my son used to trade tennis shoes recently.
Yeah. That's what we did in school. I would trade people candy for the candy they wanted. I would trade like my shoes for something. You would trade like do my homework for me and I'll give you my lunch for the next 3 days, right? That's barter and trade as a purchase. That's an exchange. It's the same thing you can do as adults. I told you guys I have a friend out here. Well, he's in Cali. I'm in Vegas, but he owns a dealership and he takes really anything, like because he does restoration and remodel of like old school cars, and he does really good. And then he'll trade you like a couch for the car. You can bring in something of value that you think has a value, and then he sees the value in it. He'll trade you with it, trade you for it, and that's really all it is: trade and barter.
We used to have an attorney here in Houston who used to do that. You give him your jewelry, cars, TVs, whatever, and he would take your case.
Yeah. Shit, the bank is a pawn shop too. So they tell you, oh, we can't sell it for that much, right? We're gonna get the note, this $8,000 note for a car, and then that underwriting group will tell you, nah, I'll take it off you for 70, and then they go sell it for 95, right? Because it's worth more than the money that's on it. Unlike regular Monopoly money, which is the same color as Monopoly money, I might add. So
yeah, I can see that.
JD, I reached out to you. This is Jazzy D.
Okay.
Look forward to connecting. Good stuff, man.
Appreciate it.
So JD, when you say for folks to reach out to you, you're not always able to reach back to them?
Yeah, sometimes I just don't want to, and I like being honest with you because I want to be conspicuous and concise. Right, because that clears the karmic energy. I want everybody to be the same way with me. I appreciate the candor, and for me, I will give that, so I expect it in return. So I tell you guys, reach out, because if I can help, I will. But if I look at your message and want to help, I'm not going to help. So that's just that, right? It's just like asking a question. There's what's to expect when you ask a question. There's a yes or a no, right? So you got to ask, and then you got to respect whatever the answer is. But I just go with my gut. So you can't get any help if you don't ever ask for it. Closed mouths don't get fed. But I'll use my discernment, in deciding on which portions I can help with and which ones I can't quite get into yet. Or if it wouldn't seem like the way to do things for me, I gotta let you sink or swim, and then once you find me at the end of the road there, then I'll definitely help. So it just depends on what it is you're trying to do. But it's best to ask your questions in this open live, and then I'll answer them. You might have the same question as somebody else.
Well, I got a good question. You say it's all about banking. American jurisprudence. Is there a particular one is that where you learn banking and go into the source of things to do some deep dive studying on reading?
No. It does have American jurisprudence does have stuff about banks or bank drafts and notes in it. What the hell chat is this that we're in? I can't keep track.
Constitutional law discussion. The law group.
Like the general open discussion portion?
Yeah.
Okay, well here, I'll put something in the chat then so you guys can see if I saved it anyway. For the banking, and I just started doing this just because before I wasn't even putting the books on here because I don't know if it made sense, but I don't mind it. I can do it. There we go. Let's see. Where are you? General open discussion. Okay, here we go. Select. We are at. All right, so that one. I guess this one isn't a bad one to put in there, but yeah, I'll put those. And this one I got from somebody else, but it's the Qualified Bankers Acceptance. So I'll post that too. So in the chat, I'll drop it right now. Let's see. Come on. Yeah, so these are just some of the ones that I've posted in other chats. Yeah, so I just posted them. Check those out at your own leisure.
Greetings. I want to ask a quick question, if you don't mind, JD.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I see that you advocate for using the 1099Bs. I've been listening to you. And for example, I don't know if you know who Bill is, but he teaches to use the estate as your payer. Other people teach, which resonates more with me, to use your SSN because that's the one that's operating in commerce. So just like, reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
Anyway, you agree with that?
Since you brought that up, that thing I posted, one of the pages I posted in the chat, it's the where it says pay to the order of. That I think is the bottom picture there. You'll see the state file number. PA is obviously Pennsylvania, so don't copy PA if you're going to do this, guys. But state file number is your birth certificate number, and then that bottom number is obviously the chief cashier or your social security number. So that's your buyer and your seller. And so, yeah, to an extent, I agree with Bill. Bill seems like he needs to take a chill pill. He gets upset. But yes, I do agree in some points with that. One of the points I agree with it on is if you guys are doing UCCs, it should be either the estate or like a beneficial owner trust. It shouldn't be your living name. So
Thank you. And then that I assume that file number, that when you use that birth certificate file number, is because you've already authenticated the birth certificate. That's how you can use that number there, right?
no, you can use it even if you haven't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what it's there for. It's yours already, right? So authenticating it gives you a whole different bond number. You'll see it if you ever do that. It gives you an entirely different file number. So that would be attached to the fact that you ledgered that account. That's what you're doing when you authenticate it. You're ledgering it.
And in
So
my
now,
case, it would be my naturalization certificate, because that's what.
which looks like money, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
No problem.
Authenticated birth certificate look like a sandwich.
Hey guys,
Yeah.
I want to remind y'all this evening at 8 p.m. We've heard this wise king all over Telegram. For us who are out here in these Telegram streets, JD Shep will be back here at 8 p.m. 8
Yeah.
p.m. Eastern Standard Time, guys. Tell your friends, tell your family, don't let them miss out. This is a rare treat, I promise you. This brother is so knowledgeable. You want all in your circle to hear him so they can relate to what your new reality is and understand, or have just somebody who has a sympathetic ear in your circle, because a lot of us is like the black sheep of our families. So bring them all so they can hear JD Shep. It's not going to be a shit show or a circus like last night. We're not.
Yeah.
We all speaking against that. We're manifesting something way above that.
Are you promising that?
I'm
I'm
promising
that.
I know who is.
I had to call him. I had to blow the whistle. What the hell going on?
That sounded like
Just
a touch and agreement.
just so
moment
everyone's
right there.
aware.
I
Just
have
so
not
everybody's
seen anyone
aware.
fight like that in a long time. You are like physically fighting. UFC.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Can you hear me? Okay. Just so everyone's aware, Bobby has left the building.
Yeah, he told me. And what's the name that was in here talking earlier was the one that brought it to his attention and mine. Chief. He was in there telling Bobby, oh yeah, they were talking shit about you in the live, blah 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 blah. You don't need those people type thing. And the thing about it is,
Chief, that
yeah,
Chief guy.
Yeah. So for me, the reason that I'm so upfront with you guys, and sometimes it'll sound like I'm barking a little bit, because I was just telling the people that I help directly. I do have like 2 or 3 people that I help privately. I was telling them, would you rather get barked at by me, held accountable for something you did that was stupid, or would you rather the DOJ come and do it? All right. Would you rather a representative from the IRS come to your house and do it? Because it looks a little different when they do it. So me holding you accountable, I treat you guys the same way that I treat my family. If I see something wrong, I'm going to tell you in private so that in the public, you're not embarrassing the shit out of us. So we want to look good as a unit. And sometimes that means holding somebody accountable. And in my case, if I'm open and upfront with you guys from the start, you can make your decision on whether you want to be here or not. And that's why I'm like that with Bobby and Chief and Pastor and, all you guys. If you ever have that interaction with me, I will openly disagree with a lot of stuff, but not in the way that some people do. Like, I joke with Pastor about it too, because I tell him he just wants to argue with me. And it's okay though, because it gives me a chance to express my chops and use them. So I'm fine with it. But I take the road less traveled, and I mean that in the easy way. Like, it's not easy what you're doing, trying to gain the knowledge, but the application of the knowledge, guys, it's very easy, very easy. Those of you that did a postal account or whatever you guys are doing, that's like a 10-minute thing online. It don't take long at all. The only reason I don't teach it is because if you don't know what you're doing, then there's no reason to have that account. So, yeah, but the stuff's not hard. It's just about using your knowledge, because info is the actual money. So using that to get to where you need to get. I live in Vegas, so I'm in touch with a lot of wealthy people. They have no idea about this shit, none of it. So I have my way in. I'm a twin. My brother and I go places everywhere together. Our younger brother's in Montana right now, so he's not here with us. But being twins, keeping our bodies in shape, keeping our minds tip top, being able to articulate what we want done, all those things help us, in that realm, getting in touch with those people. And we played sports when we were younger. We played overseas. We did those things. So we've been in front of a lot of different people, and I always want to give value when I'm with somebody, or I want to give that consideration. So that's how I've managed to do it so quickly. I do my reading. I apply what I've read. I don't come and ask somebody if they think it's right. I do my reading and I go apply it, because the only person that can really tell you what's going to happen is that fiduciary, when you go in there and direct them on what they need to do. If you guys can't think, the biggest thing to get over, and I won't go too deep into this because I'm going to come back on here tonight, so I'm going to hop off here in a second, but the biggest thing to realize is, with this stuff, is it's more about the insecurities you harbor than it is the actual quote unquote process. It has nothing to do with the process. Okay, so when somebody tells you, like when I say, how do you get somebody out of jail? Just go ask for the payment bond. Okay, what do I say when they say no? Okay, well, never mind then, because that's not what you asked me. Right? That's not what you asked me. You asked me, what do I do? I told you.
Because they're
So go
defeated.
learn how. Yeah. Though you already have that insecurity, you're going to put that out. That's exactly what's going to happen to you. Right? Because that means you don't
Yeah.
you don't know it yet. Right? Believing is one thing, but knowing it and then going and enacting it, that's two different things. You got to go, and if you don't trust what I said, go read it. Excuse me. If you can't get to that point on your own, I literally cannot help you get there. And I'm telling you guys that I don't want to help you get there. I'm not the guy you come to if you have reservations. I'm just not. If you don't know where you want to go with this stuff, don't come here, because I had to learn it myself too, right? So I empathize with it, but this is what I learned in a very, very short span of time. I don't know anybody that I see on these telegrams that's been doing it shorter than 5 or 6, 7, 8 years. I'm not anywhere near that yet. So I'm looking forward to what I can learn as time goes on. But people don't get that by hanging around people who they're always smarter than, right? That's why I help the way I help, because I want you guys
Bless
to
you, King.
thank you so much. I want you guys to be able to get up here a little quicker, because going side to side is better than me dropping down continuously. That's why these gurus, they'll never learn anything else, because they're getting paid to teach that one thing to a bunch of newcomers. You guys come in my thing talking about, oh, did you know that I heard that the straw man was this and that. I'm deleting that message, because I'm way past that. It has nothing to do with that to me anymore. So you guys got to learn your stuff and try to imagine me like we're doing a private placement with DTC. So
Yeah,
imagine
you
it
used
like
that
that.
last night. I told you about that private placement last night.
Yeah. Yeah.
I knew
Imagine
you
it
was
like
in.
that.
I was like, man, this is it.
Yeah. It's that simple because you got
This
to
is
have
banking.
something for the public benefit, right? What can you bring that you want me to help with? Because you shouldn't be operating. That's why they reward people who have businesses and stuff. I said this last night too. They reward people with businesses because you're creating jobs, right? You're creating something for the public to benefit from, and they want that. Billionaires want more billionaires. They don't want a bunch of people that are causing the debt to go up and spending fake money, and they want billionaires, people that understand how bonds move, how stocks move. So Jay-Z and them, remember everybody was saying, oh, Jay-Z and Beyonce bought a $200 million house cash. All right, it shows up as cash, but Jay-Z used SC Trust, Sean Carter Trust, to purchase that home. He didn't use money. He used cash or cash equivalent. He used paper to buy that house for $200 million. He just got somebody in his corner that's smart and knows how to do it. But you just got to know what you're doing. Simple as that.
JD, we can go get us one of them big bad ones too now.
Man, you ain't
That's
lying.
too much attention for me though.
Yeah,
Way
hey,
too much.
that's exactly right.
We have to be looking over our shoulders for real.
No,
What's
really.
going
That's why I don't post. I don't post. But I can be like this because I'm not giving away any like secrets. This is all stuff that everybody's doing. You can go to Bank of America Securities right now and they're doing what I'm talking about. You can go to Merrill Lynch, they're doing what I'm talking about, right? So it's about finding your horsemen. Everybody's got to have. You hear people talking about in the state national groups like, yeah, I was a lawyer once and then I quit. Why? Why would you quit? Why wouldn't you learn this stuff as a lawyer so that you can help people? You could just become a next friend or a solicitor. You have the knowledge of the enemy and the knowledge of the friend. Why wouldn't you stay in your position and help the friend? Why wouldn't you show them how to do banking in the court system? Why would you quit? Oh, I was a realtor, real estate agent, and I quit. Why? You're a fiduciary.
Don't talk
Why
about
would-
me. I quit after 18 years.
on?
Stop talking
Your
about me.
position.
Yeah,
I
look, what
walked
does?
away for 18 years in real estate
Yeah, go back.
because I thought I was bamboozling people when I read mortgages and I found out about all this
Yeah,
stuff.
go back because you're the one that can help them. When you leave, now you leave them with somebody else that's gonna bamboozle them. You know about it now, so you could help those people. Imagine this. So I'll talk about it like the landlord thing I was telling you guys about. If I'm a landlord and I know this stuff, now my tenants never have to pay. They don't have to pay. It's a bailment. That's a bailment relationship. You give me that lease agreement, I'll
Unbelievable.
teach you how to sign it properly, right?
I know. All right, I got to tell you, JD, that I'm a real estate agent too, and I want to learn this so I can go back to all of my clients and teach them about mortgage fraud and teach them how to live for free in their homes. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't know where to start. I'm listening to you guys. I've been on here for hours for 2 days because I just learned about you yesterday. And I don't know if I need where to start. I'm reading the book called, I was directed to Weiss's Concise Trustee Handbook.
That's good for trust. Yeah.
So, but okay. So what I want to do is I want to get, I'm at the beginning of the beginning of the race, and I just don't know
No, you're
the
not.
left
Listen,
or
so I'll
right.
explain it. I'll explain it for you where you are right now. You're not at the beginning of the race. So if you're a real estate agent, when you guys do your closing or when they sign that note, you guys sell it right there. Right after they're done with it, you turn around and hand that to a warehousing agent, right? Or who's your guys's, you sell that right behind, you turn right around and sell it. That's the next thing you do after they sign that paper. You hand it over to somebody. And
By
they,
special endorsement.
well, that's what you guys are doing as the brokerage firm or the brokering agent. You're handing that to the underwriting group of the bank. You're selling it for them, right? You just didn't know that's what you were doing, and then they're going to sell it in the open market.
They usually sell it right after closing.
Yep, exactly. So if you're teaching that person how to sign the paperwork properly and get a receipt for the promissory note, which is a direct deposit into the bank, it's money. Don't you get a receipt when you pay money?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's you're right. I wish I was still in real estate because I can undo a lot of harm that way.
Yes,
But in Georgia, it's required an attorney close, not a title company. It has to be an attorney. Would you be able to do that special endorsement to sell the note right then and
absolutely.
there?
You wanted to be an
Okay.
attorney, and you know what you do. We were talking about this last night with Dustin when she was on here. What you do is, so we're talking about bid, performance, and payment, right? You know where else that happens? In construction, right? We got to bond the performance.
Ah.
So guess what? Same thing happens in your closing table. You bond their performance. You lien the lawyer and you guys, the real estate. Everybody gets a lien until this is done. Performance bond in case you guys don't perform properly. Right? That's bad. That's business practice. That's not state national stuff. That's business practice. I'm going to ledger this promissory note. So before you guys fill it out, I'm going to ledger it. I'm going to do a bill of sale with it. And then if I want to put on UCC1, I can, but you don't have to because it's right there. You could back it. You could get a surety bond and back it. And before the closing happens, what am I going to do? I'm going to take it and get a revenue tax stamp put on it. And then we'll record it. Now the tax is paid. I don't have to pay taxes every month. Right? So that's what you can do as the real estate agent. You can
That's amazing.
yeah, you can help with stuff like that. You can be the one. Again, guys, escrow holds securities. Right? That if you call Fidelity or whoever the title company is, they hold securities. They actually do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's what that is, right? So we hold the security, and then when it's time to call on it, you call on it. Now it's paid for. Right? But because you didn't ledger, they can't see the accounts payable. They can't see that you're actually the creditor. I'm the one who issued this note onto the market. I'm the one that's owed the money. Well, we have the note. You're exactly right. You're the purchaser for value, which means you owe me money. There's a debt. There's a liability on your books. Right? That's how that works.
Yeah. That's why you
Paper
got to do
paychecks too, since
consults.
you
That's
signed the
why
back of them.
that is exactly why we need to consult with you because you have knowledge here at all different degrees. You know, gone through suits in Chancery and Henry Gibson and have some American jurisprudence and been reading. But I'm not solo. I'm not by myself. So
Yeah.
I always joke. My husband's a federal employee and we both used to be military, retired
Okay.
now, but the only silver bracelets I want is the ones that he buys for me,
Right.
so because he's always cautioning me not to do anything to jeopardize him. So that is why it's not that we're not here, so at least I say at least 50% are not here with advanced knowledge. It's just
Right.
the application without felony implication, I should say.
Yeah, and that's you're right. And it's really just doing it like they do it, right? So we're not reinventing the wheel here. We know what we need to do, right? So I'm not going to cause any hell by saying, hey, that promissory note, I need a bill of sale for it. Oh, we don't do that. That's fine. I brought mine. Thank you. Right? Just put it in with that. I need the receipt. You just sign off on this right here. I'll take it. Thanks so much. Right? Nothing. No big deal. Not stay. You're not going to defraud me. Blah, 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 blah. No. It's fine. I appreciate you. I'll do it. It's already been ledgered anyway. So you can just take it to whoever you're going to take it to. I really appreciate you for that. Thank you. All right? No big deal. It's not a big deal.
That's amazing. Do you want to do a class on that?
Say again?
Could you do a class on that so we can make notes and know that we're doing it correctly?
You know what? I guess I'll call this vulnerable. I wouldn't call it that because I don't have a problem sharing. But my issue is that I know both sides of it for all of us. I know the value offered and the value given, and I know how life goes, and it's tough to charge somebody, for information that is in a book. Like I'm sitting right here with all these damn books in my house. This shit it's free knowledge. It's tough to charge, but now what's the other side of that? Right? Because I sit on these and I'm not doing this shit Sunday to Thursday. That's when I have my daughter every week. So she goes with her mother on the weekends, and then I hop on here so I can help. But that time is money, right? Time is the real currency. Information is the real currency. So you have to worry about, and which is why I'm honest though. That's why I say, like, I'll sit on here for a little bit, then I'll get my ass off, and I'm not talking anymore. So it's not that I don't want to do the classes, because I do want people to do it properly, whatever they're doing. It's just that problem I run into, because I'm also a learner too. I'm in the stages of learning myself, so I'm not going to say no to that. I will at some point, because I've been asked so many times, either start doing consultations or, just like a class, like a real estate class and a dealership class, and different things like that for the people that want to do something a little higher. We'll have to talk about it, but because I have created my horsemen around me, I'm trying to get a few more in my pocket, but that's just the legwork that I've been doing. So I do want people to benefit from it heavily. Actually, I actually get excited when I learn new stuff, because it really is just, it's fun. It's fun sharing knowledge with people. It's fun teaching people that it's not. You don't need reparations. You don't need to act oppressed. You don't need to be stressed over bills or working a 9 to 5. You don't have to be stressed about that stuff. You're literally getting paid. Everything around you is interest. It's money, right? Except the actual stuff you're using. That's the only thing that's not money, the green stuff. So, yeah, I like it. It's just I got to find that balance for myself. And
So
I have to be
JD,
yeah.
well, you can just take a topic and kind of just talk about the topic. Like if they want to talk about real estate, just take a day and just kind of talk things
Yeah,
about real
of
estate.
course.
It could be like kind of simple
Yeah,
like that.
but so the thing about that is the disseminated information is recorded, and again, that's fine. It's whatever. It's not even my page, so I don't care. But some of the stuff is not for a beginning mind, right? And that's what muddies the water. So if I bring some of the stuff I'm teaching to, like, again, so let's use that example, right? She's saying, Silas is saying, like, well, yeah, I'm a real estate agent. This, and that, I want to help. That's a conversation that we can have, because you're doing something and it can't hurt you to know this. It can only help you and the people that you're helping. So absolutely. But just
Yeah,
as a
that's what I mean.
consumer, as a consumer trying to get these things, that's where it's like I have to use my discernment, and my discernment's been great thus far. I have to use my discernment in deciding what I will speak about and what I won't in the public like this. And it's really
Well,
a
Yeah, I
weakness.
understand.
oh, I'm sorry.
I'm just saying, for the real estate people, if they understand real estate, it'll be for them,
Yeah, of
and
course.
maybe they can kind of go to somebody and explain to them. It don't have to be you. Just all real estate people can get together, and you can talk to them, and they will understand what you're saying, and then maybe they can kind of spread the word from there.
Well, I would hope they would just do their job the regular way, and then people would come to them, do it like that. It's an organic thing. I wouldn't reach out and monetize what I'm saying, which is why I'm having an issue, because I'm not monetizing what I'm saying, right? So, and I won't say I'm having an issue because I'm not, but the back and forth is that. So it's really more like, yes, I could do it. I'm in Vegas. I told you guys that I could do a damn seminar and have 1,000 people there and charge them all, and then I'd be in the money. But I want to do it for myself. I don't want to tell you guys something, because that's what I feel like the gurus are doing. They're telling you guys to do some shit and using you as the guinea pigs and sending you out to do something they read in the book that they've never done.
Exactly.
What's guru?
Yeah.
What is that?
A fake facade in some people's mind. But I need to say this, JD. I want to say this. I'm in favor, if you ever come to a meeting of the mind and your heart or what you're going to do, of a consult. Because of that very reason, about everybody being on different levels and being exposed to different things. I'm getting feedback. I don't know where it's at.
Everybody, I need to.
Yeah, but a consult is probably, better for people who have a little bit more knowledge and has honed into specific things that you have spoken on that want to go into it. But I'm in favor of a consult. I'm in favor of any audience that to be wherever you are. But I have some specifics that I have been privy studying for a few years, 3-4 years. But I want to zero in on. And then I know you said you're going to be back here at 8:00. People DM me, so I got to read this about you. They're about you, JD. So I'm going to tell it.
Okay.
But they were DMing me questions and stuff, so I was asking questions that was being DM'd to me.
Right.
So you said you were a twin, and they noticed that you changed your icon up there from your picture, and then they said
No, you
he's
noticed.
a twin. No. This is a DM. I know it already. I know it don't even matter. He said he's a twin. Good golly, Miss Molly, is 2 of them walking around? So I just tell you.
Yeah, there's 2 of us. It's on my I'm not that private. I have my Instagram. It's alkaline_the cowboy. Yeah, my regular life is on there. Well, pictures of it anyway. So but yes, I changed my thing just because we talked a lot about countersigning and all that stuff. So that's why the 2 shields like that, the mirror. And then obviously, again, I have a twin. So that's on there. And I have my younger brother. So yeah, there's some of the symbolism there with that. But I agree with the consultation stuff. I could do that. And then, because that's another thing too, I will say, I know a lot of the gurus will do a consult and then they'll spend 30 minutes of the 45-minute consult, with their phone fucking up or the damn, background noise in the way or talking shit about some other person's process. Like I would want, if we were going to do something like that, it would be, some time frame and then just ask the question that you want to get done or the information that you need. And then, apply yourself. Because that's what I want. Like, I know some people might not like it like that, but I want you guys to get some information and then go and experience it for yourself. The only person that can teach you this stuff is the experience itself, because you're going to experience people pushing back, right? Just because I'm telling you this stuff, it does not mean the road ends. In fact, it's harder this way. When you actually do know what you're talking about, that's when it's harder, because now you got to talk to somebody you're going to realize when you're in my position that it really is not fraud. That's why I hate when people say that. It's not fraud. They don't know. Plausible deniability. The people down here, they have no idea what you're talking about. They're people like you. They go home to their family like you. They have cars that they're paying on like you, right? The only people that know are the CFO. He knows, right? President, he knows. The judge, they know. Lawyer, they know. Those people know. So those are the ones that you have to hold accountable, but the way that you would do with your children, not the way that you would do with like the Avengers. You're not the Avengers, right? Just like policy enforcers are not Batman. They come after the crime has been committed. They don't stop crime. They come after it's been committed and they fine you for it. So it's the same thing here. We're not trying to, Captain America and run in there and like, oh, I know what you're doing. Stop this now. No, that's not what we're doing. We're letting them know. I called into my court case. Just real quick, I called into the court case a couple of weeks ago before this hearing, and I requested to speak with the CPA and the director of finance. I asked for the deputy clerk first, or the CEO of the court, and they wouldn't give me him. So when I got along with the CPA, I told him like this. I said, hey, I'm working with a financial institutions group. I'm speaking to you on behalf of one of your investors. The only problem is he misplaced his CUSIP. We've been trying to track the performance of one of his bonds that's lodged into this courtroom or this court. And, we can't track it. I've been on his website, where he tracks his securities and stuff, but we have to get his CUSIP so that we can figure out what's going on with his bond. And he said, okay, yeah. Do you have his ID number? I said, no, but I have the case bond number if you want that. He's like, oh, okay. How'd you get that? And I was like, hey, private information. He's like, okay, so give me the case number. And I gave him the case number. He's like, yeah, I got it right here. And then he said, oh, and I said, what? So I can't really share this information over the phone. You would have to come in and show your ID, and then they'll give it to you. Because he found the CUSIP. He found the tracking. He was tracking that thing, and he realized what was going on with it. So when he realized that and wouldn't give me it over the email, I said, yeah, I'll come in with my ID. He was like, well, the investor would need their ID. I said, no, I'm the investor. That's my case. That's actually my case. That's between me and the mother of my child. And he said, oh. And then he just hung up.
I think the court, CUSIP, isn't it?
What?
I might be wrong, but I've watched either Gene Keating or Patrick Devine say the court case number is the CUSIP
No,
number.
it's not.
On
The court case number is the case bond number. You can get the CUSIP from it. The CUSIP is put into an RS, a special purpose vehicle, SPV, right? Same thing as a REMIC with mortgages.
Yeah.
Yeah, same thing. So
Right.
it's put in there like that. So that CUSIP you got to find in laws. You got to find it with Fidelity. It'll help you find it too. Well, if you know somebody there. But my point is, that's what I did. I disarmed him by coming in as a position that would be there looking for that, right? When you go into a bank, when I go into the post office, trying to get rolls registered, I said I work in a debt capital market, and I deal in a lot of different securities, and I'm always mailing. So I need these registered mail codes, but you guys keep giving me these damn red labels, right? If you go online and order it, it's the red labels and not the barcode. So I need the barcode. She's like, we don't have those. I was like, no, you have them. And I need them. I can't do anything without these. And so he came back. The postmaster came back and was like, yeah, we have them, but we can't give you the whole roll. And I said, just give me what you have. And then they came back with damn near the whole roll and just tore it off and gave it to me. So
Yeah, those are PS 200s, and according to the postal manual, you're entitled to a 6-month supply, and you can get a whole roll. As a matter of fact, I have picked up 3 rolls at one time.
yeah, I got my firm mailing book like that. PS form 3877. They were like, oh, you can just do it online. I was like, yeah, but I just want you to give it to me. You got like 15 back there right now. Oh, we don't carry those on site. I was like, well, you have to, how do you let your registered mail? I was like, you register it through the firm mailing book. So if you could just go grab me one, that would be great. And then he came back with it.
Yep, or they can just order them for you because they
Right.
order them.
Right.
That's all they have to do.
Hey,
I have a
also,
question for you. I have a question for you.
I'm sorry, El.
Since you said to just bring it up here. Sometimes I don't want to say certain things because it's a lot of it is private, but I'll just go ahead and say it. So we have a situation where my colleagues are one by one purchasing a gold mine, and it seems like there's always a runaround. I'm going to read you just a little bit from one text and then from another one that came today. Yes, I believe, yes, it will be next week that we close. One of the pieces of property that we had on the contract had a cloud on the title, and we had to find a different piece of property. It has about $1 million less in equity, and it will cost about $2 million more to develop than the original property we had in escrow. So all the numbers for the loan have to be reworked. We expect to have an offer from the lender this morning. This was a couple of weeks ago. We'll update you later today. Okay, so then that one was that. And then today's was, we didn't close yesterday. We were supposed to close yesterday. And then we're taking some of that money into a trade platform. So today's was the package is in underwriting. It was supposed to come out of underwriting yesterday. That's what I said. It was supposed to be yesterday, Friday. However, they needed an update from the appraiser to put in the package to close it. The appraiser is providing an update. Once it comes out of underwriting, the company policy is to fund within 48 hours. I'm thinking that there's some other way from the conversations that you've had with us on various channels in the last couple of weeks to do this a different way, right? Especially since this is in underwriting right now, right? And we keep having to, the money is set aside right now. There's a particular amount of loan. It's actually 2 loans involved. And I know there's another way to go about this. However, so that's one thing maybe you can address. So we don't have to keep going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth with the underwriting and the appraisal and this, that, and the other thing. Secondly, is when it does get funded, many millions of dollars, is discharging that debt. Third, I know you can keep up with.
Well, you're at closing, so there's no
Yeah, but
debt to discharge. So go to the next thing. Go ahead.
yeah, the next thing is the discharging of the debt when that does happen, right? Because it's just supposed to now be next week. It was supposed to be it was supposed to be yesterday, the close yesterday, and then disbursement of funds next week. So hopefully it'll be closed next week. Disbursement of funds, next week. Then it'll be how do you discharge the debt. Now the third thing. Go ahead. Let me just leave you with.
I was just gonna say, get to the question. What do you want me to help with?
What can you help with? Because I believe that there's a way to bypass the bank and get right to it and get the funds ourselves.
No, you can't bypass the bank. You need the bank at this point. I mean, if I was going to help you, it would be using me, but I'd still be using the bank. So that's a private offering, but you haven't ledgered the notes and things like that. The underwriting group has purchased the note. They just need more pieces to the funding packet before they can sell it. As far as the money goes, it's not a loan. In that sense, it's not how that works. It's not a loan, but you just have to ledger it. There's no really other way around it once it's in closing. Even if it wasn't in closing, that's the way through it. The way to it is through it. But you're already there, so you would just have to wait till you went through it, and then get it situated that way. There's really no process to what you just did, and I've explained how you would do it if you were doing your own thing. So with yours, just whatever they're doing, whoever is doing it, you should tell them to let the process finish out, and then they can reach out or whatever. But yeah, just go through it.
And is it anything they
Okay,
should do at
so
closing to do a special endorsement for the security?
If you can get the promissory note back, if he's at closing, I think they already got the note. But yeah, you could do that. What I put in the chat on the promissory note, and then accept it for honor, and then give it back to him. You got to put the date, and then you would need a bill of sale with that promissory note, and to ledger it. So you would put your number on it to track it, and yeah, that's what you would do in that situation.
okay. All right. Next thing, I got you on that. And then some of the funds we'll be putting into a trade platform. So I have connections with the people that own their own platforms, others that are the intake officers, and some that are right next to the intake officer. Is there a way to utilize this knowledge that we have to secure funds from our own account, from our treasury account, to go into a platform and not have to wait for FRNs?
Yes, but I'm not. There's no way in hell I'm teaching that. There's just no
That's
way.
That's why I don't ask you, and I've texted you, but that's
Yeah.
exactly. So, but you said to say, ask your questions, so I'm
Yeah,
asking a
you
question.
can ask, but as far as that
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
goes, remember, it's not. It's a credit. It's a debt. It's a debt that you're focused on. You should be focused on accessing funds. You should be focused on the debt, because that's the money. So, but as far as that stuff, yeah, I'm not the person to come to if your goal is to get money or funds. I'm not the guy. But the function behind the things that you're doing, if the end result ends up being some sort of gain in interest or income, that's fine. But
We have
utilizing the funds to do something else, that's not what I do. So
right. You don't know me, right? So you don't know what I was
yeah,
going to use it for exactly. So that we have many, 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 many humanitarian projects, many, humanitarian projects. So those things need to be funded one way or another.
I mean, they're already funded. If you're in any situation where you can set them up or do whatever it is, you don't need to be funded. That's the whole point of stuff like that. If you're trying to enter it onto a trademark or whatever, that's what we were talking about earlier. That's private placement. That's initial public offering or private offering. That's just a portion of what happens. So,
may I interrupt?
In terms of what BJ asked, I would be
Hello?
interested in a consult. If that, I mean, I'll text
yeah,
you.
we can hear you, Queen.
Hey, L, Queen's trying to talk right quick.
I kind of want to cut the conversation right now. I want JD to go and take a break. And like he said, if you want a private consult, reach out to him privately. And I think you'll need to take a little breather for a couple hours before we come back. So,
yeah, let's do that.
So, yeah, eat, relax, whatever you need to get done. It's just about 3:30 here. So we're looking at 4.5 hours. We'll be back. And I want to thank everybody, and hopefully we'll see you all later on. I'm going to create a special tab so that it's just going to be for questions that'll be put into the tab. And when JD's on, he can breeze through them. So you can put your questions in there now. And I think it'll save a lot of time and keep his conversation and talkings on point to what people are wanting to know.
Yeah.
All right, so guys, I'm going to close out. I'm sorry, JD.
Thank you, JD, for helping me.
Yeah, I think it'll be a lot easier.
Yeah, gratitude.
Okay, all right. Appreciate you all. We'll see you at 8 o'clock.
Thanks, JD. Thanks at least for responding. Appreciate it.
Are you closing the mic now, Queen?
I think Queen will leave it open. I'm gonna get out of here, but I'm sure she'll leave it open.
All right, appreciate it.
Yeah, no, I'm shutting it down till later. Yeah, it's been running all day and night, so I got to turn my computer off and let it get a break for a little while. All right, we'll see you all at 8 o'clock. Stay blessed and well, and talk to you soon.